I think so. No, this is the only quote-unquote reporting we've seen on it. Initial Iranian sources are reporting some kind of ground attack on the guards at Fordow. This report comes just after Israel warned that they would do this, but no other details so far. Yeah, you fucking moron. We like you for one thing, and it ain't that. I'm gonna be honest. You have to dial it back. Like, if you ever find yourself this angry for a brief pause on unlimited news content, you have to just, take a little bit of time off and maybe dial back from consuming the news. Even OSIN accounts, me searching for the Israeli outlet that reported the ground attack on Fordow took place. It doesn't exist. It's only LARPing Twitter account / journalists trying to cause fear. I recommend chatters search the word kayfabe and its relation to wrestling. It might offer broader insight on the methodology behind a performance presentation and the viewer's observations within the meta behind the performance. Basically meaning, y'all need to take this shit less serious and enjoy the content. Yes. We have yet to find official confirmation of events that took place. So, I don't know. New information coming out of Iran. The Israeli attacks on Iran so far have killed 865 and wounded over 3,000, according to a rights group. 363 of the fatalities were civilian, 215 were military, and the rest is undetermined. 9-day Israeli military campaign has killed 865. I assume the reason why the rest of it is undetermined is because they haven't gone through the records yet. No attack on Fordow at all so far. The B-2s are landing in Guam in the next 2 hours, and no IDF op on Fordow so far. Thank you, Elent News, for the update. It felt like, look. Israel has conducted successful Mossad operations inside of Iranian soil with, I would say, regular frequency is not the appropriate term here, but like definitely a higher percentage than you would expect. Having said that, the notion that like Israeli commandos would drop into Fordow and try to engage in direct war in like a fucking gun battle, that sounds pretty crazy. That sounds out of that just simply sounds insane. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's correct. Once they've fully taken air defenses, they could do a raid hypothetically, but Iranian ground forces would respond heavily and it may end badly. That's what I mean. Because the reason why, yeah, it would be a one-way mission. Like, there is very little chance that they go in and they fucking kill a bunch of people and then they like extract in time before the IRGC arrives, I feel like. Maybe they could pull it off. I don't know at this point. I just find it to be highly, highly unlikely, especially considering that Israel values in its operations, with the exception of like Mossad operations and like espionage, intelligence operations, in which they even still use assets more than like use their own fucking citizens, especially when they're conducting operations in like Iran. They'd rather use assets than go in themselves. And also on top of that, the idea that like Israeli nationals are going to dropship commandos into Iran sounds fucking nutty, especially considering how little they choose to go out and fight on the ground, even in fucking Gaza. This isn't even about like the military might of the IRGC either. This is just more so how protective they are over their own nationals. They're mad enough and arrogant enough to try it? No, they'll just fucking blow it up from afar. If they have air superiority, the much more likely scenario is just like trying to blow up the guards at the fucking guard tower or something with a from afar with their air forces, or like a drone or something. When you think about it, it's not the Osama bin Laden operation where it's one house, the whole militarized facility. Exactly. Like, even the Osama bin Laden operation was like dead of the night, 3 Blackhawks, 1 down. And again, it's not hostile territory necessarily. It's Pakistan. And again, it was a compound and not fucking a foreign adversary's like a foreign adversary's like nuclear facility that they have probably good reason to have tremendous security over. They have done a similar successful raid on an underground Iranian ballistic missile site in the middle of Syria last year, however, while Assad was still in power. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's very different than actively being at war with Iran and simultaneously putting the highest priority target. Yeah, that's very different. That's Syria. Like, I feel like doing that in Syria, Assad's Syria, nonetheless, as opposed to actively going to war with the number one adversary in the region, and then it's the number one priority target that has probably additional attention to it right now, considering that they've been saying they're going to blow it up over and over again. To have that facility, I mean, maybe it could happen. It's just very, very, very unlikely, I think. They not only need to kill anyone guarding the facility, but then they need to infiltrate the facility, plant enough explosives to take the entire facility out, and then make it out. Yeah. Is Elent News trustworthy? Yes. Probably one of the more trustworthy, if not one of the most trustworthy OSINT accounts. But as is the case with OSINT, people tend to sometimes get things wrong. It's understandable. I get things wrong as well, especially when events are unfolding, especially when what most of these accounts are tasked with, and even myself as well, is to pierce through the fog of war and try to offer you the most accurate assessment of events that are unfolding, and that is spectacularly difficult, given that the both of these countries have some kind of censorship implemented. Noldo, what's going on?
To be some movement here. We're seeing American hardware military assets being moved. And of course, so is Donald Trump. He's on the move on his way to the White House at the moment.
Yes, there is continuing speculation here in Washington that US military action in the Middle East could be imminent, and it's fueled by two things. The president's return to the White House this evening, that's not on scheduled. It was planned in advance, but it's still very unusual for Donald Trump to spend Saturday and Sunday at the White House. And
that's so funny. He's right. He's fucking right. Isn't that crazy? The American president not golfing in his New Jersey golf facility, his New Jersey golf club, is uncharacteristic of him and is a sign that things are escalating. What an insane turn of events for the most powerful nation on the planet. Like, you have a serious news reporter saying that, and it's not even a joke. It's like very serious. That is like actually an indication that things are getting more serious by the moment.
Equally unusual for him to be meeting with his national security team as often as he is. The speculation is also being fueled by the departure of B-2 bombers from their base in Missouri. These are the very aircraft that would be capable of carrying out any bunker bombing of Iran's underground nuclear capabilities. Now, right now, they are flying west towards the Pacific region, not to the Middle East, but of course they could continue further around the globe until they reach the Middle East, should the president deem that necessary. We are hearing that the line of communication remains open between the United States and Iran, although Iran insists it will not engage in negotiation while Israel continues its bombing campaign. We are also hearing that there was a very tense phone call between the Americans and the Israelis on Thursday. Israel reportedly very unhappy about President Trump's suggestion that there should be a 2-week window for diplomacy to be given a chance. And all of this, I think, speaks to the challenge facing the president right now.
Why do you think the B-2s are going west? Guam is, or there are a couple air bases where they can fly from if they want to do a targeting mission on Iran. And I think like Guam is either a point, right? A point in the, like a checkpoint to reach Diego Garcia. Love is the answer. hope you can have one day this freedom. Tel Aviv is an hour drive from Gaza and 20 minutes from the West Bank. I can't stand, dude, Israeli propaganda is so fucking gross. It's so fucking bad. B-2s can strike a target halfway around the world. No, Guam ain't close, but it's in range for Iran. It's crazy, but I think the B-2 bomber range is fucking insane. Hold on. Yeah, the Northrop B-2 Spirit bomber range is 6.9 miles. 6.9 thousand, sorry, not 6.9. 6.9 thousand miles. Is almost 7,000 miles. And on top of that, I suspect you can probably refuel as well, but I don't know. I don't know. Not with 60,000-pound explosives. B-2 bomber range with ordnance. What? Don't show on stream? Okay, then don't fucking send it to me. If they do it, they will fly from Guam. Usually it's Diego Garcia, but that's within the range of some Iranian munitions. B-2s with air-to-air refueling could technically fly from U.S. to Iran and back in one go. They refuel in the air. They can literally be in the air for 24 hours plus. More than likely, Iran has their AA defense against Israel on the Western Front. Well, if America launches from Guam, it would be opposite direction, but it would still be awareness. But it would still be awareness of it being deployed. Range with max combat payload. It won't tell me. It won't tell me what it is with maximum payload. Oh, it says the B-2 can carry a 20-ton payload 6,000 miles without refueling.
Built to give America a decisive advantage in a nuclear war, the Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit was the world's first heavy payload bomber to incorporate a radar-defeating stealth design.
I'm not going to ask Murad about this, dude. What are you kidding me? It's fucking competitor. He's going to lie and tell me it's shit. He's going to lie and be like, oh, it sucks. It's fucking maybe 10 miles max. Heard it can't carry any payload, actually.
With the ability to carry 8 times the payload of the F-117 Nighthawk and an unrefueled range of 6,000 nautical miles, the B-2 Spirit is a globe-spanning bomber that lives up to its ghostly name. Despite a 172-foot wingspan and the ability to carry 20 tons of firepower on board, it's alleged to be smaller on radar than even America's F-35. This bomber was so advanced when it entered service in 1997 that today, more than 25 years later, America's enemies are still trying to catch up. Meet the B-2 Spirit.
Fun fact, modern radar can probably track the B-2 if it gets close enough. We might have a Yugoslav invasion incident where we lose it like we lost the F-117. Here's the B-2 route from Afghanistan, so it's the same for Iran. The longest bombing run in history, the B-2 Spirit of America logged 44 hours of flight time and 5 aerial refuelings to bomb Afghanistan from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, October 8th and 9th, 2001. Jesus fucking Christ. God, we are... Dude, can you imagine all the brain power necessary to make this happen? All the money spent to make this happen being spent virtually anywhere else. Like, that is so much. I want to start judging American expenditure on how many healthcares this is, okay? I want to judge this off of how many healthcares this cost, like a dying orphaned cancer patient child. So sick, man. So fucking dope. I know there are there are people that see this and they're like, hell yeah, dude. It's fucking sick. And it's like, I look at this and I think, how many fucking free school lunches for how many years could every American child unconditionally receive free school lunches? Yeah, think about how much of our tax dollars are being used to just ensure Israel can continue its genocide and wars of expansion. The billions of dollars spent directly on the weapons Israel uses are only scratching the surface. Oh. But that's precisely the reason why, for the record, these guys, like all of these outlets will be fucking talking about how sick these weapons are, how awesome they are. When I see that, I read it like an ad. It's like an organic ad that they just placed in there without telling you, without having to fucking say hashtag ad. You know what I mean? All of that. What is this? So someone worked out a timeline for the B-52s based on all available radar geolocations as well as confirmed refueling stops. The American B-2 bombers appear to set to arrive at Iran right around 6 p.m. on Sunday night, right in time for futures to open. Tomorrow is going to be a lot of chaos and rapidly moving parts. I'll be covering it in all detail in real time as it happens. Considering that a lot of this has to happen for capitalism to continue because imperialism capitalism necessitates imperialism, and that this kind of imperialist dominance can only happen if you're constantly pouring all of your resources, your brain power, and your money into being everywhere all at once, being able to reach anywhere around the planet in a moment's notice to fucking laser people out of orbit. If it wasn't for the current organization of the economy, we unironically would have already been living in fucking space colonies, I think. Like we would have already had tremendous development in every field, as opposed to wasting it on aircraft that could just like bomb anywhere around the planet, deliver 60 tons of payload. Think about all the cancers we could have cured. Everyone could get the best education. Think about your fellow man being at least, at bare minimum, like 40% more intelligent. You know what I mean? Like actually literate. Hassan, I said this days ago, loud noises in Nebraska. It's been deployed days ago. One B-2 bomber could underwrite 1 year of healthcare for about 144,000 Americans at the current per person spending rate. No, that is with the healthcare expenditures being as costly as it is. Because obviously, it wouldn't work that way. We wouldn't be funding the private healthcare industry that way. It would just cease to exist. What? We have space colonies already and the cure for cancer, but they want to keep us as slaves or it's lonely? What? Okay, chatter. Do you think the International Space Station is a space colony? One tier one city from China, one Iraq war, $3 trillion. Yeah, one Iraq war and how much the wealth that we accrue from one Iraq war and how that wealth gets distributed is also entirely different than one tier one city from China, which houses tens of millions and is a beacon of commerce, a beacon of prosperity, erodes, like shreds the homeless population. And by that, I don't mean literally fucking kills them. I mean like people don't succumb to homelessness because they have affordable housing. Night rain tomorrow for Sunday fun day or what? No, I'm flying to New York. I'm going to be at the Mahmoud Khalil rally. Too complicated for Americans. Take notes from Delta Airlines. You need to use how many Nintendo Switch 2 consoles it could buy for it to land. Oh, you mean like instead of membership dues for your labor union?
Although Lockheed took home the first stealth contract with a design that would lead to the F-117 Nighthawk in 1976, the competition at Northrop continued working on their stealth designs. By 1979, 4 years before the Nighthawk would even enter service, the Air Force was already on the hunt for another stealth platform, this time for a heavy payload bomber with a truly global reach. The Air Force called this new program the Advanced Technology Bomber Competition. Despite its unusually square and duck-like appearance, Northrop's experience with their Tasted Blue technology demonstrator helped position them to win the new competition in 1981. Unlike the awkwardly shaped Tasted Blue, however, Northrop's new bomber drew inspiration from legendary flying wings like the YB-35 and the YB-49, designed by the firm's founder, Jack Northrop. Initial plans called for a massive fleet of 132 new stealth bombers, but increasing costs and the fall of the Soviet Union ultimately led to a production run of just 21 bombers, skyrocketing the cost of each to more than a reported $2 billion. The B-2's stealth design was about more than just preventing radar detection. It incorporates elements meant to reduce detection against infrared, acoustic, and electromagnetic sensors as well. Its 4 General Electric F-118 GE-100 engines are tucked deep within the fuselage to minimize both radar and infrared detection, and the entire aircraft is covered in a layer of radar-absorbing material, said to be able to absorb as much as 80% of inbound radar waves. Originally intended as just a nuclear bomber, the B-2's design was shifted to incorporate precision-guided conventional bombs in the early 90s, leading to its combat debut in Operation Allied Force, where B-2s accounted for 33% of all targets destroyed in Kosovo during the first 8 weeks of the conflict, flying out of the U.S. for each mission. The aerodynamic efficiency of its flying wing design and 167,000 pounds of internal fuel storage could allow the B-2 to fly from Whiteman Air Force Base, Missouri, all the way to Moscow and back with just a single mid-flight refueling. Since then, the B-2 has flown missions over Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, South Korea, and more. No B-2 has ever been lost in combat. With air defenses continuously improving and stealth bombers in development in both Russia and China, the B-2 Spirit now runs the risk of losing its competitive edge. In 2022, Northrop...
No! No, not the B-2 losing its competitive edge, dude. What the hell?
Grumman unveiled the B-2's successor, a similar but smaller flying wing that builds upon the B-2's successes while incorporating stealth technology. Northrop...
Iran has not fired a ballistic missile in 24 hours. Yeah, they only shot drones into Israel in the past 24 hours. And I don't know what the reason is. It could perhaps be because they're gearing up for America striking, or it could be because their fucking capabilities have diminished spectacularly. I don't know. Why are people adding XUC and saying suck me?
claims is 2 generations ahead of the legendary Spirit. This new optionally manned bomber will replace both B-2 Spirit.
More on how the bunker buster strike could work. See, Missile Autist Elite News immediately. As soon as I start watching one video, he's like, hey, check this out. We watched this yesterday, I'm pretty sure, didn't we? Yeah, we did. Or did we watch this today? Each GBU-57 MOP bunker buster, which was designed specifically for Iranian bunkers using composite concrete, is estimated to be $20 million a piece. $20 million a piece. All right, let's watch fucking Israelis talk about Iranians.
If I was sitting one-on-one with an Iranian citizen, this is what I would say.
To my Iranian friends, we are with you. We want peace.
The war is not with you guys, it's with the regime.
We live only once, so choose the good life.
We all stand behind you here, and we just hope that at the end of the day, we can have a direct flight from here to Tehran.
I hope that one day we can get lunch in Tel Aviv.
We want you to have what this is, which is freedom, peace, democracy, and hopefully you'll get that.
Dude, the proximity that they have to a fucking death camp, like a Holocaust-style open-air Auschwitz, is alarming while they're saying this. Like, in the backdrop of all of this is a straight-up live stream 24/7 Holocaust happening to the indigenous population. And they're like, oh, one day you'll get to have this too, chap. You know, have your own, hello, have your own authentic, fair trade, organic, Menoresian accent, yeah? Fucking hell. Everything that I see from Israel is zone of interest. Everything, every single thing that I see. Oh my God. I will never be able to see. I mean, I have not for many years, but like, it is virtually impossible for me to ever see Israeli society as anything but contributing to the death and destruction and the Holocaust of the Palestinian population. Yeah, you can have all of this, yeah? Maybe we can do this to the Kurds living in Iran. Fucking hell. It's called democracy, yeah?
That very soon.
We love you and we want peace.
Make another one, 2025. Make another revolution in your country.
I mean, the last one didn't work out too well for you guys, I think. You know? Yes, do another one. Ultra Islamic revolution. Ultra. This time this time you get a super Ayatollah. Super Ayatollah. This is good. I think he's saying it as a treat.
Become peaceful, become freedom, become free country. I admire you.
My parents are both born in Iran. This is not obviously a war on you. This is a war against the Iranian regime.
I hope that one day we all can live together in peace like the old days.
בעזרת השם ניפגש בקרוב באהבה, בשמחה ושלום.
Stop with the violence, stop with the hate. One day we'll all be free and proud to be under the same sun.
I mean, come on, dude. Come on, dude. Why is it that no one ever says maybe Israel should stop being a violent nation and lay down their weapons? What do you mean? Look, does it look like violent nation? Does this look like Gaza? Does this look like Gaza? This is Tel Aviv. This is Tel Aviv, Israel. What can the average Joe Israeli do about the situation? What do you mean? Fucking revolt. I feel like if Israeli society was, like, I think about it on my own, right? Like, we live in America. We are an incredibly fucking violent country. We are contributing to Israel's genocide. And there is a lot of discontent in this country. Obviously, it demands significantly more, okay? Far more discontent than what we have shown so far against America, right? Says the American law. Oh my God, I'm literally fucking in the process of describing my moral culpability. What the hell is wrong with you, bro? What? We have completed, what the fuck? Breaking. Donald Trump just said, Trump, we have completed the very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, 4 down, Natanz and Isfahan. All aircraft are now out of Iranian space. A full load of bombs was dropped on the main site, Fordow. All aircraft are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. No other military in the world could have done this. Now is the time for peace. That's it? What the fuck? Okay, I need a fucking CNN link pronto. Do we have one?
Poll shows that tattoos, well, they're trending to the right. According to YouGov, they're now more common among Republicans than Democrats, and that's a complete reversal from a decade ago.
Oh my God, Republicans are fucking talking about tattoos, bro. Oh my fucking Lord.
We come back.
Trump
July 4th.
prefers, okay, we're ahead of the news. We're ahead of the news. The news is not even caught up yet because this just happened, which is why they're not even, what? Did he accidentally post that too soon or something? President Trump announces the U.S. has bombed Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan in Iran. He calls it successful and says U.S. planes are outside of Iranian space. Now is the time for peace, he writes. Dude, the peace president does it again? What do you mean? What do you mean the peace president? We just bombed a fucking foreign nation. What the fuck do you mean, peace president? He said it again. I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. No, this is early, dude. This is from a couple fucking weeks ago. Or not a couple weeks ago. This is from like a week ago. Why are you sending me a tweet from June 13th? I told you that 2-week narrative was bitch shit just to make the Israeli freak out as punishment for forcing his hand. Wait, first of all, I also never believed the fucking 2-week narrative. I told you that it was most likely going to happen this weekend. Yeah, here it is. We have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. The Truth Social post got deleted and updated 18 seconds ago. This was the OG. What's different about it? What's different about this from the other one? We have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. All planes are now out. Baba vurdular. Amerika vurdu. İran'a. Nükleer siteleri. Fordow, Natanz ve Isfahan. CNN is fucking doing Viagra commercials, and Fox is talking about the Democratic Party's style still. I cannot. Trump said he struck Iran, the American troops, American bombs. No, it is. He deleted it and then reposted it. We have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iranian airspace. A full payload of bombs were dropped on the primary site, Fordow. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There's not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Nothing was changed in the fucking repost. Guys, I'm on CNN. There's nothing happening. Remember when General Keane advised them, tell the Iranians through the back channels it will be a one-time strike, don't respond or else? Now we wait. What are the other bombers doing today? What do you mean? They're probably coming in because of a potential retaliation, which might come. And I think it will, but I don't know. We'll see. Now we wait. Now we wait. From this point on, we wait. We see what Iran's retaliation is going to look like. But remember, right as this information was coming in, I said they are perhaps holding off on deploying ballistic missiles because they're worried about an imminent American strike. Literally, this happened out of, I mean, this was the most expected attack, the most anticipated attack of all time. Seymour Hersh was right, for the record. Cy Hersh's reporting was correct. No, oh, shit. Al Jazeera is just
All right,
now.
Bringing you some breaking news now. We're just seeing U.S. President Donald Trump post on his Truth Social account that the U.S. has attacked 3 Iranian nuclear sites. Trump has said that joined the Israeli air campaign, and now we wait to hear more from Tehran and the Iranian government. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. This is, I'm reading now from the Truth Social post.
They got caught so off guard that their delivery mechanism for this looks like a live stream. Looks like my fucking live stream. Look at this. Both CNN, literally, they screenshotted it so fucking fast that they still have the notification up.
He says in all caps, thank you for attention to this matter. Again, the breaking news coming from President Donald Trump that the U.S. has indeed bombed sites in Iran. I want to go to Elena Treen, who is there at the White House. Elena, just to back up for a second, this news coming that they have attacked 3 nuclear sites there in Iran, as we saw President Trump coming back to meet with his national security team there at the White House, as we saw these B-2 bombers, stealth bombers that were involved in this being mobilized earlier. What more are you learning as we get this brand new information?
Yeah, so we do know that the president is still currently inside the West Wing with his national security officials. We saw CIA Director John Ratcliffe enter the West Wing just a little over an hour ago. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, we just spotted moments ago outside of the West Wing on the phone, engaged in a phone call. And look, I mean, so far all we know is what we have seen the president post. Of course, this is very different from some of the things that we've been hearing in recent days, that he was still weighing this decision. Well, despite that 2-week deadline that he gave himself on Thursday, just 2 days ago, he has now, of course, made that decision moving forward with this series of strikes. I think very notable, I was in some conversation with folks who are wondering, does this mean the U.S. when he says we? Well, he thanks
I don't even know
American
if I can leave for New
warriors
York now.
in this, saying that no other military in the world could have done this. Some other things I think very much worth emphasizing here, Jessica, is he says that the bombs were dropped on the primary site, Fordow. Of course, that was really what we had been hearing in all of our conversations, that really only the United States bombs, these B-2 bombs that you mentioned, we had reporting that had left that Missouri Air Force Base yesterday. They were the only ones that could really penetrate Fordow, that nuclear site, to really help the Israelis in their ultimate goal of wiping out Iran's nuclear capabilities. He says that they have done that, of course, and strike 2 other facilities as well.
Will this be like a Qasem Soleimani moment of restraint from Iran? And not even restraint at that point. It's like complete and utter domination. Or does Iran retaliate against American troop positions in the region and close off the Strait of Hormuz?
States into this in a far more offensive way than we have seen, and also kind of going against some of what we've also know as many people really wary of the United States getting involved in this. Some key things I think, though, are also important to note here, Jessica, is what I had heard in my conversations after we had reported earlier this week that the president had reviewed attack plans on Iran. I was told that behind closed doors in these conversations, he had asked his team specifically if there was a way to have the United States carry out some some of these strikes without launching them into a prolonged war. I've been told repeatedly in my conversations here with White House officials that their goal was to see, even if they get involved in this, perhaps that does not necessarily mean that the United States is getting involved in a war or that this will make it a full-scale war. Of course, we have to see how the Iranians will respond to this, but that has been what I've been told in my conversations here at the White House.
What?
And Elena,
Let me
just
guess,
to give
the
people
Barack
again
Ravi tweet that's in Hebrew is somehow going to tell us Israel knew about this all along. Wow, dude, color me surprised, brother. What a shocking development. Meanwhile, he was trying to pull the fucking Ayatollah to Turkey or some shit, or the foreign minister to Turkey, right?
If Israel's wants to get rid of any threat of Iran having a nuclear weapon and getting rid of that program, how do you achieve that goal? And the big question around that was whether the U.S. would get involved, because, as you mentioned, the key way to do that is with these bunker buster bombs. You need these B-2 stealth bombers in order to do that. Now, the Israelis had said they had contingency plans, but they certainly wanted the U.S. to step in here and help them offensively. The U.S. had been helping them defensively, trying to protect them as Iran was
do? What do you mean? You shut off the Strait of Hormuz, the entire world's oil production collapses. Not the entirety of it, but a big
That's
chunk of it.
exactly right. I mean, and you're right. I do think stepping back and looking at how we got here is so important. I would note as well, of course, that one, the president has been saying for months, even before he took office, that he believed that the Iranians could never have a nuclear weapon, that the ultimate goal was to find a way to prevent that.
They're already packaging this
attempt
as
at
like
that was really what we've
not
seen
a
this
severe
administration do, which is try
escalation from
to
an
engage in negotiations
bloodthirsty
with the Iran.
administration ready to collapse the entire globe, but instead a peaceful demonstration of restraint, a first strike that was necessary. What a psychotic fucking country we are.
To strike Tehran, and then of course those strikes began just over a week ago. And if you look at where the president has been, at first he really was saying that he wanted to find a diplomatic solution to try and de-escalate the conflict between Iran and the Israelis, and essentially he had said that he needed the Iranians to be far more forthcoming in those talks and really make major concessions, what they had really been unwilling to do up until that point. And then he gave himself that 2-week deadline on Thursday where he said, I will make a decision, even though we had been reporting up until that time that he was he was closer to wanting to involve the U.S. militarily than he had been. But now it is clear, of course, that he has made that decision, gone ahead, ordered the military to strike these 3 different facilities, specifically Fordo, again, which you've pointed out, is really the key one that a lot of people believed that the United States needed to be involved in. And your point as well about what the Israelis have been asking the president. They've said it publicly. We know they have been saying this privately in their conversations. They wanted the United States to get involved. This is exactly what they were hoping they would do. A key question now is, where does this go from here? And we're going to have to continue monitoring that to see exactly what this could lead to now that the United States is far more involved in this directly than they had been up until this point.
Certainly. All right, Elena Trine with the very latest at the White House. Thank you for that. Again, the breaking news, President Trump saying that we have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran. We have special coverage of this breaking news continuing right now with Anderson Cooper, who is live in Tel Aviv. Anderson.
Chatters. This is 1 day of traffic in the Strait of Hormuz, through the Strait of Hormuz, of oil tankers, cargo vessels. It is a tremendously important choke point that Iran stated they would start mining if they were attacked. Look, the calculation here is simple. As I said, either the Trump generals are correct and Iran will behave in the same fucking way that they did after the Qasem Soleimani assassination, but this is a severe escalation beyond that. This is exactly what Israel did to the Palestinians for 75 fucking years, basically. Not in the same severity, obviously, but like this is a show of force that says you will not negotiate with us. We will not negotiate with you as even partners. We are here to dominate you. Just as the Abraham Accords basically proved to the Palestinian population that there was no other way out of this, that they were backed into a corner and they had to fight their way out of it. This is another escalation from the American government and the Israeli government, that their goal here is complete subservience from the Iranian government. They are no longer a sovereign nation from this point on, is basically what they are saying. They have their airspace. They fucking use the diplomatic
to actually get to the depth
as a cover, as a protective cover,
that facility
to basically
Fordo.
blow up these facilities. Now, we don't know
that strike. The question, as you said, how many runs did it take? Were they able to destroy it completely? You know, we don't know that yet. We don't have that battle damage.
Yeah, we don't know if they actually were successful. But
the Natanz facility, according to the IAEA and others, that was damaged by Israeli authorities. That was damaged early on in Israel's actions against Iran. The exact level of damage was not clear. There were some initial reports that perhaps the damage was worse than it actually was. The electrical supply to the centrifuges at the Natanz facility were cut. That electrical supply was cut. I spoke to the head of the IAEA who said he believed that would have caused some of the centrifuges in that Natanz facility to spin out of control and probably go offline and be damaged. But again, it seemed like Fordo had not really been directly hit as far as we know.
That's right. The Israelis had primarily focused their attention on the Natanz facility. We know that they had done extensive damage to the above ground facilities, some damage to the below ground facilities, and then as well some damage to Isfahan as well, although they left a lot of that untouched. Some of that, according to experts who I've spoken to, may stem from the risk of radiation that could...
Heavy GPS jamming and disruptions are being recorded right now throughout Iran and across other areas of the Middle East, likely part of tonight's U.S. strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities, as well as the preparations for a possible response by Iran. From Phil Stewart, national security reporter for Reuters, U.S. B-2 bombers were involved in strikes on Iran's nuclear sites. U.S. official tells Reuters. This is the liberal media talking about this, by the way.
The mother of all bombs, which is in Afghanistan. That bomb is actually not the mother of all bombs if you consider the GBU-57, because it is smaller than this 30,000-pound bunker-busting bomb, which would, every expert has said, would be the bomb that you would use for the Fordo facility. At this stage, we don't know that they have actually...
What will China and Russia do now? I mean, it is the fact that this happened probably means that China and Russia...
weapon of choice.
Maybe I'm wrong, but the fact that this happened feels as though China and Russia allowed it to happen, if that makes sense. Like, I don't... If they saw Iran as a valuable partner, a valuable enough ally, I doubt that they would fucking allow Iran to get bombed. They would probably intervene far before this took place. If that makes sense. Like, I don't think America can move B-2 bombers into Iran and fly over Iranian airspace and blow up Iran when there are Chinese assets in Iran. There are Russian assets in Iran. Well, notice that they didn't actually bomb the fucking Russian facility. The Russian nuclear facility was untouched. They will intervene now. I think it took everyone by surprise. It took everyone by surprise. So why is a fucking dumbass 33-year-old Twitch streamer who is simply looking at the readily available reporting on it telling you that it was going to happen literally this weekend, because I read Seymour Hersh's reporting on it, which was almost entirely correct. There is no world in which, if I am speculating on something and telling you that this assessment has a high likelihood, that the fucking Chinese state is oblivious to that reality, or rather, the Russian state is oblivious to that reality. That's not how states work. Many of you don't understand that, like, states literally engage in deconfliction when they literally do war with one another even. Okay? They communicate flights to one another. I'm not saying that the B-2 bombers were communicated ahead of time to Russia and China, but I would be shocked if they didn't. You did just say that on Thursday. Dumb shit, fuck. My whole point is, first of all, there is no congressional approval. they are basically fucking behaving as though if it's a bombing campaign, it doesn't require, like just with Yemen, just like Yemen, if it's a bombing campaign, it doesn't require congressional approval is like the modus operandi now, okay? This has been calcified as a fixture of American foreign policy, okay? Congressional approval basically is negligible and not necessary when it comes to bombing campaigns. At most, if you want to do probably like a full-blown boots on the ground military campaign, then you have to maybe say like, oh, this is going to be a special military operation, not a full-blown invasion. And then maybe you can exhaust the legal limitations once again. This is a severe escalation. This is a severe escalation, an act of aggression against a sovereign state, directly going to war with Iran, specifically at the behest of Israeli leadership and Israeli advice.
Who have you seen coming in and out of the White House?
In the Syrian civil war, Russian and American air forces communicated their flight paths with one another to make sure no accidental shoot down of the other. This is something that the great powers did since the Cold War to prevent escalation of nuclear war. Exactly.
Striking at these 3 Iranian nuclear facilities.
America does not give a fuck about anything, dude. We do not care about anything. We are so fucking awful. We are so goddamn awful. It is crazy. Fuck the Constitution. Fuck international law. We designed it. We can break it if we want to, and you can't do a damn thing about it. That is precisely what's going on here. Now we wait for the fucking retaliation. Will Iran actually pull a post-Qasem Soleimani assassination, and their response is entirely so limited that it's basically nothing, it's negligible? Or will they actually retaliate with severe force, basically saying it's over, it's all systems go, we're gonna fucking blow up every American base with ballistic missiles, we're going to mine the Strait of Hormuz, we're going to disrupt commercial sea traffic, and this is their final step this is their final desperate last-ditch attempt at sovereignty. The problem with this final last-ditch attempt at sovereignty is that it most likely will lead to extended conflict with America and with Israel, and it will most likely lead to the inevitable demise of the country that we know, the United States of America, if it goes in that direction, and it will be used as a proxy by China and Russia if they are clever enough to extend that conflict in the same way that America was using Ukraine against Russia. The difference, of course, between Ukraine and Iran is that Iran has designed its entire society to withstand this kind of thing if push came to shove. They've never used it, and I don't even know if push comes to shove, they will be able to use it, but we shall see what happens. Trump just tweeted a fucking OSINT account. Fordow is gone, says open source intel.
Let me ask you just.
This is so stupid. I'm sorry. What the fuck? I can't take this seriously. Open source intelligence, the OSINT 613 account doesn't know if fucking Fordow was actually gone.
Well, you can anticipate that every intelligence gathering...
Like, what are we talking? What is this? Why is he fucking posting this? Does this mean he directly is saying that Fordow is gone?
Is now focused at
you are the fucking president, man. What the fuck is going on?
Of what damage has been done to that
I don't know if this is a retruth because he is saying, yes, I saw it. Or if he's just simply a fucking moron and is retweeting an OSINT account to flex. I don't know. I don't even know if they have the capability of knowing if fucking Fordow is gone. How would they be able to know if Fordow is gone? Even Americans. Do they have the surveillance technology to figure out, like, did they monitor the fucking crater? How would they even figure out it's in the side of a goddamn mountain?
And what happened down there. But you're absolutely right. You probably will only get a 10% answer to that question. I would not want to be the targeteers and the bomb damage assessment teams that now have to turn to the president and say, we got it, we didn't get it, or we didn't get it enough.
What?
Likely there will be a need for a reattack.
What? Iranian TV saying no attack has been done. No one in Qom or Isfahan reported hearing anything. What the fuck is going on? All the Iranian media is sleeping right now. Okay, what about Fordow, though? I mean, I know that that's like far away. the only way to possibly figure out, and this is, I mean, Fordow is the enrichment facility, okay? Fordow is the enrichment facility. So I assume that if it was like a successful strike, maybe there would be radiation, right? Iranian Twitter is saying they cannot confirm the attacks. There is no confirmed information yet regarding the nuclear facilities, which are subject to tight security and media protection. Weak communications do not necessarily mean the attack was successful, and we are working to verify the details as quickly as possible. Okay, that's a little different. That doesn't mean that it didn't happen. There are 40,000 U.S. troops in the Middle East right now, and any lingering faith that Iran plus allies in Iraq, Yemen, etc. had in Trump's deal-making instincts is now shattered. Hard to see Tehran agreeing with Trump that peace will now come. More likely, they perceive an all-out war for regime survival. What is happening? Dude, I'm in Iran. TV says they don't know yet. So you guys, so people in Iran have internet right now, I assume. Trump set to address later. Trump's Truth Social account has been disabled. What the fuck is going on, bro? CNN brings on a guest to say he's impressed with Trump's use of deception and trickery. Liberal media, by the way.
Of this announcement by the president and the decision to act now.
Well, I'm fascinated, and candidly, I'm impressed. I never really could understand what the 2-week
monsters, bro. These guys are fucking freaks. Wait, so they might not have even hit the fucking facilities? What is happening? It's got to be, nah. Trump's account is not, let me tell you something. Trump's account is most likely not fucking down. What's most likely happening is because Truth Social is a dog shit fucking website, when Donald Trump announces a nuclear facility strike and a first strike against Iran from the American government, of course, a fuck ton of people clicked on to confirm, and it basically destroyed the whole website. It most likely destroyed Trump's account. It's doing most likely like a fucking hug of death, because their website is dog shit, because everything Trump does is dog shit. Everything. This is most likely a hug of death that is happening. See, as a consequence of people clicking on the fucking account over and over again. Confirmation via Iranian sources. A U.S. official said on condition of anonymity, given the sensitive nature of the information, that multiple B-2 bombers carried out the strikes against 3 nuclear sites. The White House alerted television networks that the president was expected to address the nation later. The Fordow site was first revealed to the world in 2009. Okay, that's... Defense Department officials said on condition of anonymity, given the sensitive nature of the information, that a number of American B-2 bombers were used to hit Fordow. The bombers can carry the needed 30,000. I will be giving an address to the nation at 10 p.m. at the White House, that is in 2 hours, regarding our very successful military operation in Iran. This is a historic moment for the United States of America, Israel, and the world. Iran must now agree to end this war. Thank you. This is what Trump said. The bombers can carry out the needed 30,000-pound bunker buster bombs that can penetrate into Fordow. It was not immediately clear whether other American warplanes were using the strikes. 3 senior Iranian officials speaking on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to speak publicly said that they believed Americans had bombed Fordow and Natanz at around 2:30 a.m. in Iran. Fordow is right near Qom. Here is an Iranian journalist an hour ago. At least 2 explosions heard in Qom. I'm in a clubhouse room right now, and there are a bunch of people living in the city of Qom, closest to Fordow. They're saying that they haven't heard anything. Breaking. Iranian media claimed that the U.S. targeted Fordow with dozens of bunker-busting munitions. Israeli media state that B-2 bombers dropped GBU-57s. No confirmation of the extent of the damage. Holy fuck, dude. What an insane situation. I cannot believe that we are... I mean, given how stupid things are, of course it is expected that this would unfold in real time in the exact idiotic ways that it did. Sky News.
American diplomats and their families who wish to get out the area. Everyone has been put on high alert. There are a lot of American troops stationed throughout the region, not least in Iran, where there are a lot of pro-Iranian militias, and also inside Syria. Syria obviously is more benign territory, but it doesn't mean that there aren't bad actors there, and that will be of concern as well. Diplomatic, military and civilian ties. And of course, the State Department have been advising any American citizen to get out of Iran. That will also prove extremely difficult at the moment, but certainly I would say in terms of foreign policy, this is the most important, most significant moment of President Trump's second term. Whit?
Ian, panel for us, thank you very much. We're going to bring in our Louis Martinez, who's joining us now, covers the Pentagon. And Louis, you're on the phone, I believe, with us. And one thing I just wanted to ask you about, because we were getting these reports from flight tracker sites earlier that these B-2 bombers were on the move. We thought that they were moving, according to sources, toward Guam. What do we know about what may have changed in that plan? And was this part of some sort of diversion, or what was it that led to this move tonight?
Wait, those are all great questions. We're trying to get to get a real good handle on that. But you're exactly right. This is a very public tracking on flight tracker websites, on radio communications from air traffic controllers that indicated that these B-2s had left their base in Whiteman, Missouri, and were bound westward. We talked to officials who told us that, yes, the bombers were headed to Anderson Air Force Base in Guam, which is a place that they've deployed from previously, but that there were no further orders. So the question is, were these B-2s allowed to continue on towards Iran and striking some of these targets? Were they not used? What other kind of assets may have been used? One of the things that I think that has been lost here over the last week or so is that the United States has had a very strong military aerial presence in the region already. We knew that additional fighters and bombers had been surged into the area, but those aircraft are very capable with it of dropping.
Including the one where he announced that this had happened in the last 15. Latest one.
Well, as you said, he announced he will address the nation at 10 p.m. tonight, so that's in 2 hours' time, just under 2 hours' time. He says, I will be giving an address to the nation at 10 p.m. at the White House regarding our very successful military operation in Iran. This is an historic moment, capital letters, an historic moment for the United States of America, Israel, and the world. Iran must now agree to end this war. Thank you. So 2 hours before he gives what I imagine will be an Oval Office address to the nation. Very unusual for an address to the nation to come so late in the day and at a weekend. When presidents tend to do this, it's usually earlier on in the evening, hitting prime time, 6 p.m. or so. But a 10 p.m. address to the nation. We also know that the House, the Speaker of the House, and the Senate
Look, the only other possible outcome, as that Twitter guy was also saying, is that they actually did not successfully hit the facility. Like, they did not reach the facility, given how deep it is, and therefore the Iranian retaliation will still be severe, I suspect, but not as severe as like all-out war. So we shall see.
Yeah, and this was a question that was raised when I was having these conversations in Israel today with Israeli officials. They said that one of the things that Donald Trump would be asking was, what does the next day look like? What does tomorrow look like? What does it look like in a week's time?
The International Atomic Energy Agency is in Tehran. They'll probably see radiation on site if strike was successful.
Some kind of prolonged situation. So, as you say, and as Ali's been
Do you think this would have happened if Trump wasn't elected? Not that it matters because Donald Trump is currently the president, but yes, I do think it would have happened if Trump wasn't elected as well. If you think that the Democrats would be any different right now than the Trump administration, then you're not paying attention to what the fucking Democrats have been saying so far. Now, once all of these events unfold and we see the negative consequences of it, the Democrats might finally change their fucking tune. But leading up to this very moment, the Democrats have been lockstep, have not actually moved away from criticizing Donald Trump. And the only time where they've offered criticisms to Donald Trump is when they're actually saying they would bomb Iran harder. And this is not just the words of Kamala Harris saying that Iran is the biggest enemy, that she would be harder on Iran than Donald Trump, or that how she wanted to have the most lethal military. This is not just what they've said during the campaign. This is not how they set the stage for this to take place. This is because of what the Democrats are saying currently. The Democrats are currently saying, the highest level Democrats in Congress right now are currently saying that Donald Trump has the right to do this. They should just do it the legal way by getting congressional authorization. That is basically a demand for rubber stamping this and doing it the legal process. That is not a criticism of Donald Trump doing this at all. At most, if you hear in the upcoming days, if you hear from Democrats, they will probably say, depending on the impact, depending on the retaliation, you will probably hear them yell about how Donald Trump did not fucking follow process. That's not the real criticism here. The process is only important because you're supposed to use the process to stand in opposition to Donald Trump, and you're not supposed to give him the congressional authorization. Donald Trump went ahead and did it anyway, without congressional authorization. I built a live viewer of satellite virus, thermal hotspots, and fire activity in KCP hotspots all over Iran. I can get you a web map of the specific data if you want to look. If Dems had control of executive and Congress, don't you think they would try to reinstate the JCPOA? We had a Democratic president for 12 hours since Fordo's opening. And no bombing ever happened then. Not running D for the Ds, but I do feel like this degree of escalation could only ever happen under Donald Trump. Joe Biden was the president. Joe Biden was the president and chose not to reinstate the JCPOA. And instead, what Joe Biden did was, instead of reinstating the JCPOA, what he did was full tilt genocide and set the stage for Donald Trump to be able to do this. That's why Brett McGurk has been Joe Biden's architect in the Middle East. What Brett McGurk has been saying on CNN 24/7 is basically how fucking awesome this stuff is that Trump is doing. Israel's Channel 12 is showing images from what they say is Fordow. The vegetation in the image does seem to match the area around the site. Apparent footage from Iran, according to N12 News. I don't know if this is real. We would not be at this terrifying moment without Biden and his team emboldening Netanyahu beyond even Israel's expectations in Gaza and Lebanon, abandoning hopes of a renewed nuclear deal and fracturing their voting coalition, a team that promised stability brought huge danger. This assessment is correct.
Yes, it is. And, I keep on saying it can go one of two ways.
Not that it matters right now, guys. It doesn't matter currently, okay? It doesn't matter what...
to coordinate.
It does not fucking matter what... Kamala Harris would have done if she was president right now. It literally doesn't, because Donald Trump is the president and he did this, okay?
Something bigger. I mean, the Iranian regime.
But as you know, if you fucking come to me and you ask me a question such as this one, I'm probably going to be honest with you.
They will be aware. They will be aware of the pounding they've taken over the last week and a bit, and they will be aware of the huge risks of getting into a big war with America now. And so I think there is, and we have seen it before in the last couple of years, I think there is a scenario whereby, not necessarily coordination, but they maybe even take a little bit of time and they make sure
some
that the
dude on Twitter saw
that they
two
do carry out
B-2s
against
flying
US
east
interests in the region
over his
exactly
house in Missouri last night. Lamau, the only one who saw the real strike
such
package.
a way that it is very much signaling an off-ramp rather than an escalation. Now, there is, of course, another scenario, a real scenario, that they say we're going to widen this conflict. I'm not sure how it.
Yes,
more they can
never
do
forget, Cy Hirsch, Papa Hirsch was right, unfortunately, but he was 100% correct in his reporting.
For example, you suddenly start to really disrupt the global economy. They could.
Brett McGurk on CNN endorsing it? Oh, fuck me. Well, this will perhaps completely put to bed the notion that the Democrats would be behaving differently right now. Brett McGurk is Joe Biden's own Middle East guy, his envoy, okay? Is this fucking effing? What's happening right now? And he's on CNN. Let's see.
Regional leaders and to Iran that this is it. This is about the nuclear program. This is not an expanded campaign. They still want to get back to the path of a diplomatic arrangement, which has been on the table for some time. So that is the message I think we're likely hear from the president at 10 o'clock. They are prepared for a potential Iranian response. I would put it in 3 categories. We know them well: missiles, militias, and terrorism, or hostage taking. But I think we have, as I understand it, both sent a warning to Iran not to think about that. And if they do, we would have a counter, trying to avoid going up that ladder. There will be a lot of diplomacy here tonight. It's ongoing right now.
What diplomacy?
Clear to Iran, this is about your
what
3
are you
nuclear
talking
sites.
about?
It does not go on from here.
Am I crazy? Have I lost my mind? Am I the crazy one? What do you mean diplomacy? Oh, I can't wait to do diplomacy. This is a great opportunity for diplomacy. That's the dumb fuck shit that Trump is saying. What do you mean? You're supposed to be the fucking serious party. You guys are supposed to be the Harvard-educated foreign policy advisors.
The fluidity today, everybody talking back channels. I was talking to a lot of my former counterparts, trying to find some opening and press upon Iran. Like, look, guys, agree to sit with the Americans and sit down on the deal that they presented 6 weeks ago. And there was just no opening from the Iranians. So in any case, I
can't believe this is what fucking bullshit we were watching when
I know this
America struck Iran too.
Down to the T. I am fairly confident it was quite successful on those 3 sites. But in any case, the message now going out is that this is it. And this can be the ceiling of this escalation and try to get a deal. I say one more thing, Anderson. You mentioned last night, it's a little counterintuitive, but there are talks ongoing. Hamas is sending a delegation to Cairo to talk about a ceasefire in Gaza, which is extraordinary in the backdrop of this arrangement. And those who are working on that believe there might be an opening to actually get a ceasefire in Gaza, which is desperately needed. So there is some hope here, some hope that this
is my least favorite type of "I told you so" coverage, where like
some de-escalation on the
where the goal here is not to take out Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities. The goal here is to have a either completely non-sovereign, completely servile state, or most likely it's not even that. It's just regime change. And if you can't do regime change, then complete destabilization of Iran, a country with 92 million people in it.
Responses there.
Oh my fucking Lord.
Well prepared. So again, Iran can do missiles, militias, terrorism. We know what they try to do. They are incredibly degraded from what we had assumed, but we have to see where this goes. But I just wanted, that's what I've heard from senior officials involved in this. Those are the messages going out to the Iranians and to regional officials. And I think we'll hear more later tonight.
I just want to reiterate, I mean, you have an extraordinary record of service. You have heard from a senior official the details on this, which you've just given to us, and that the U.S. has sent the message to Iran that this is essentially one and done. No, it's no further from the U.S. as long as nothing else further on happens. Is that correct?
The objective of the mission are the 3 nuclear sites. That's the objective. And so if everything stops here, that's it. If Iran tomorrow, I don't think they will, but if tomorrow they come and say, okay, let's sit down, I think there's a path to an agreement. Look, these sites will eventually be rebuilt in some way. They can be rebuilt in a way that allows Iran to have a civil nuclear program. I do not think Iran will ever again have an enrichment program.
Fuck you, dude. Fuck you.
The Iran we have today, they have no air
you.
defense, and I doubt the Israelis are going to permit the Iranians to rebuild an air defense network. So it's just a totally different Middle East than we have assumed even 2 years ago. But Iran has capabilities. It's missiles, militias, terrorism. And they're going to have some choices to make, Anderson. But bottom line, yes, that is the message going out tonight diplomatically, trying to say this is what this is about. This is not about regime change. Again, something you and I have been talking about. This is not about regime change. It's about your nuclear facilities. Should have taken the deal. You didn't. This is where we are. It can stop here or it can escalate. And the objective through that diplomacy is not to go up that escalation ladder, to try to stop it here. But, you know, this is a incredibly serious moment. I think that diplomacy has to be active, engaged from all sides, our allies, our partners, even those who might not agree with this decision, trying to ensure we do not go up that ladder. But if we do, I'm fairly confident that, you know, CENTCOM has prepared our own counters should that happen.
Brett, use your judgment on what you can say, but I just want to ask, how confident can U.S. officials be, Air Force, everybody else, be about the level of damage is sufficient enough, particularly at the Fordo facility? Are they able to do real-time assessments of, or does that require, repositioning satellites and that's going to take some time before there's an accurate sense of how damaged these facilities are based on this new attack?
One thing I'd say about this operation, we know a lot about it. So this is not like a new situation, a new target. I don't want to say too much, but I think our commanders, they knew exactly what to target, what to hit, the pilots. So that's one thing. But yes, there will be, over the coming hours, as light comes up, there will be battle damage assessments to determine the success. But I think right now they believe it was very successful based upon what was practiced and rehearsed over many years. The massive ordnance penetrator is a munition that back in the Obama administration used to be discussed a lot, as we have that option should it ever come to that. We all hope
Israeli Air Force is not going mobile.
But this is a military mission that has been honed across administrations with the hope that it would never have to be used. Now, tonight it has been used, but this is something that has been rehearsed, practiced for years across presidencies. So I think they knew exactly what they were doing and feel good about the results. But I think, they will do an assessment probably tomorrow, over the coming days, make sure. If you have to go back and hit again something else, that I've been involved in that in the past, that could be a possibility. But again, the message here going out to the region and to Iran, this is about the nuclear facilities. This is not an expanded mission set. That's what this is about. And it can stop.
The reason
here.
why he's even entertaining the notion of second strikes, the video is old. It's not forward out. Despite what many accounts on X are now claiming, this video is old and not from tonight's U.S. strikes against the Fordow nuclear facility, nor any of the strikes tonight against Iran. But that doesn't mean that Fordow hasn't been struck. But as it stands currently, we don't know how deep the penetration was. We don't know what kind of damage the nuclear facility took. Okay? We don't know that. We do not know. This is an important part of the calculation to make assessments on what the Iranian retaliation is going to look like. Okay? That's what's important. I mean, there's a million different things happening right now, but we do not know, we do not fucking know what Iran will do in retaliation. They said Fordow is not burning as of now. Here are all fire signatures on Earth by NASA firms. Yeah. Also, notice how Brett McGurk goes, oh, it's about nuclear sites, but also Israel won't allow them to rebuild their air defenses. Yeah, it's about not having sovereignty. That's what it is. That is precisely the reason why they wanted to take out the nuclear facilities, not because they're terrified of a fucking nuke that Iran might get, or Iran has, or whatever the fuck Israel is claiming. It's about not allowing there to be a sovereign Iranian state. They will either immediately try to implement a puppet state that will be incredibly unpopular and people will resist against it, or they will just destabilize it and turn it into a fucking fail state. That narrative of Israeli special forces raiding Fordow was the most obvious fictional narrative I've ever heard, but at least now I know it was almost certainly just a bait to get as many on-the-ground soldiers into the facilities before the U.S. bombed them, probably spread by Israel to try and maximize the response from the Iranian side and bait the U.S. into further conflict. Iranian official? Wait, is this actually fucking from an Iranian official, or is this just like some dumb fuck account? Breaking. Islamic Republic of Iran state media says the 3 nuclear sites bombed by the United States had personnel evacuated some time ago. They already moved the enriched uranium from Fordow as well to a secret facility. They had already covered that. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Here is what the Senate Majority Leader John Thune said. The regime in Iran, which has committed itself to bringing death to America and wiping Israel off the map, has rejected all diplomatic pathways. What do you mean they've rejected all diplomatic pathways to peace? I'm losing my fucking mind. I feel like these guys are just like wish casting an alternative vision of what unfolded in broad fucking daylight. And honestly, the media is going along with it. The media is not even offering even a fraction of the fucking truth. Mainstream resources for the past week have been salivating at the prospect of American bombers doing exactly what they just did tonight. What kind of fucking insanity, what kind of insane world are we living in where mainstream resources are basically salivating, liberal, Republican alike, at the prospect of bombing a fucking sovereign nation state and its nuclear facilities while there was a denuclearization negotiation going on? And they kept saying, come on, get back to the table, as they kept bombing. Who the fuck would believe this? Who would believe this? Who would ever take mainstream resources seriously ever again? How many outlets? You guys, there's 75,000 people in here, okay? I covered extensively how these facilities were most likely going to be struck this weekend. I covered Seymour Hersh's reporting. I looked at all of this analysis. I warned against how fucking devastating this would be. How many mainstream resources did you hear this kind of information from? How many of them even had a single person this past week come out on television and say, what the fuck are we doing? What do you mean we're bombing Iran? Why is anybody fucking talking about bombing Iran? That is a whole ass different country. Did we learn nothing from Iraq? Did we learn nothing from Afghanistan? Not a single fucking outlet, not a single mainstream outlet offered even a fraction of this coverage. It is mind-boggling to me. What the fuck is going on, dude? What is going on? Not a single one. At most, you heard Chris Hayes have Ro Khanna on to talk about war powers, the congressional authority to go to war, and how crazy it would be if Trump violated that. That was the maximum criticism afforded on any mainstream outlet. One piece of coverage, as opposed to literally having Brett McGurk on, which is Biden's Middle Eastern architect, for the record, who was perhaps most responsible in the Biden admin for the genocide in Gaza, constantly salivating at the prospect of doing exactly what just happened. And now I got people asking me if we're going to get nuked. Iran literally doesn't have nukes. People literally think we're going to get nuked. This is why I said if Iran had nukes, this wouldn't be happening, for the record. Ironically enough. Yeah, Brett McGurk on CNN is talking about how we should run it back. Jeff Stein posting and then deleting every single thing that he has said in his coverage. Jeff Stein of Washington Post posting and deleting, deleting all of his tweets about Brett McGurk in real time. Oh my God. This is the most insane thing. Like, I cannot believe it. Tommy Vitor, former Obama NSC staff, National Security Council, says, Donald Trump just took us to war with Iran without explaining why it was necessary or getting authorization from Congress. He is weak and got manipulated into doing Netanyahu's dirty work. What a pathetic, lying moron. There is some truth to this assessment, by the way. It's fucking insane that we literally were like, nah, we want to go to war. Israel told us we should. And it seems like it was a good idea. I wanted to do World War III because I'm bored. Only a couple months ago, Donald Trump came out and was like, listen, guys, I want to nuke global trade. Why? Because I'm fucking bored. I'm bored as shit. And I feel like nothing cool is happening. Let me fucking nuke global trade. And then everybody yelled at him and turned around and said, what the fuck are you doing, moron? You have small businesses that rely on this shit, that you designed. America designed this fucking global trade to basically offer IOUs to every other country so that they can slave themselves so we can get fucking cheap commodities like $5 t-shirts from Forever 21. And then, of course, he had to slowly but surely back away from that position. But it shouldn't get to this point. Okay, it should not have to get to this point. It should not have to get to a point like this. And then everybody goes, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? You have cognitive dissonance, dude. You're on a permanent trip. I have cognitive dissonance. I told you this was going to happen for the past fucking week. It's not my fault that you weren't fucking paying attention. And this is perhaps the worst, most inopportune time to come in here and be like, Hassan, remember the thing that you said was going to fucking happen for weeks? Now that it finally happened, I'm still going to say you're hallucinating. Are you fucking stupid? Am I hallucinating or are you hallucinating? This is the worst time for you to come and be like, you were wrong, dude. You were so wrong. What do you mean? U.S. is briefing troops that Iran will likely retaliate. U.S. military is now briefing troops that its strike on Iran will likely result in counterstrikes on U.S. bases and facilities in the Middle East and likely activate Iran and other foreign terrorist organizations cells abroad, including the U.S., to conduct strikes against U.S. persons and facilities, according to briefing I obtained. Of course. I mean, that's what they're anticipating, by the way. It might not happen. Remember.
3 o'clock in the morning here in Tel Aviv, we got word. I'm joined again by Brett McGurk. Brett, just in terms of concern about U.S. forces in the region, other potential targets from Iran or their proxies, what kind of precautions do you think the U.S. has already begun to take, or would the U.S. have begun to take in order to prepare, in order to protect their forces?
I think, Anderson, we have been for the last 8 days moving personnel, hardening positions, making sure air defense is in. So that has been ongoing. We've been seeing it, particularly movement from some of those facilities in the Gulf states, moving into Saudi Arabia, a little more inland. So that has been ongoing. We have in Iraq and Syria, probably it goes up and down a little bit, probably about 1,200 troops or so at positions that can be vulnerable. I have to say, though, I want to remind everybody and the viewers, after October 7th, those positions all came under attack almost every single day by Iranian-backed militias. And 3 Americans were killed at a facility in Jordan. So these militias have attacked us, and it stopped. We got a ceasefire because we did a number of things to deter further attacks. But the point, we know how to deal with that. It's a risk, but it's not a new risk. I think the challenge of Iran's missile program to some of our facilities in the Gulf is real, but the Israelis have been going after those missiles in a systematic way.
Dude,
I would not discount or understate the risk at all.
Bro, go work in Israel, bro. Go fucking live in Israel. Why are you here? Why are all of these people here? You can live there. Israel loves white guys. They love them so much they let every Russian on the planet become Israelis, okay? Why don't these guys just go fucking live there? Why do they live here? Why do these guys live here and fucking act like they are living in Tel Aviv? Why do they care about the interests of Israel more than they care about the interests of America? Get the fuck out of my country, dude. What the fuck is going on? What do you mean? What is this? Oh, dude, this is a fucking really important thing that we're doing here. Like, dude, I'm telling you, American foreign policy and Israel's involvement in American foreign policy is one direction, okay? They are aligned. This much is true. But the fucking, the reality that Israel gets to call the shots in any capacity is so fucking insane to me.
We have 5 there now. That's very good. So preparations have been underway, but this is extremely serious. I'm sure our intelligence community is doing everything to see what Iran might have in mind, and whether Iran, given their disarray, can really muster any sort of an effective response. And the hope, I know, in the administration here is that the diplomacy and making clear to Iran that, don't think about it, this can be it, prevails. That would not be unprecedented. I have to say something, Anderson. This event we're seeing right now, totally unprecedented. But last October, Israel launched an air attack into Iran after they were attacked by ballistic missiles. That had never been done before. An overt air attack Israel attacked Iran. The assumption was Iran would massively respond, and they didn't. A couple other things, Anderson, to keep in mind. You know, all presidents are they're experienced, determined decision making. President Trump did the strike against Qasem Soleimani in January of 2020, and the response was not insignificant. About 15 ballistic missiles were fired at an American base.
I told you they would use Qasem Soleimani. Did I not fucking tell you that every single person, Brett McGurk obviously is not in Trump's ear because he was Biden's guy, but they are uniparty, so it doesn't matter. I fucking told you that they would use Qasem Soleimani's retaliation from Iran as a reason to quiet Trump down if he were to be like, oh, what if war breaks out? Then they probably told his fucking stupid ass that, remember when nothing happened after Qasem Soleimani's assassination? Don't worry, these Iranians are fucking servile. They won't do anything. So now that's the best possible outcome here. The best possible outcome here for global stability, I guess, is if Iran doesn't fucking retaliate. If Iran doesn't fucking retaliate, and then they're just like a failed state from this point on. Following the United States attack on Iran, the Home Front Command is changing the guidelines back to the most stringent. Breaking, Com Province Crisis Management spokesperson, hours ago, after Com's air defense activated and identified hostile targets, part of the Fordow nuclear site was subjected to enemy aerial aggression. These are a few pieces that we know of what might have happened in Fordow. They still are showing the fucking Fordow strike target. Oh my God. They're literally, they love this. They love this fucking satellite imagery, dude. They fucking nut to it. They jerked off to it for literally the past fucking week and a half. Look at that. Look. It's just so strikeable. It's just looking. Look at what it's wearing. Look at what Fordow is wearing. It just looks so submissive and so ready for a fucking strike.
Effectively eliminated many of the people who would be involved in any kind of response of proxy forces, correct?
Yes. As a military tactical campaign, this Israeli campaign over the last 9 days has been incredibly effective. That's tactical. Does it lead to the strategic effect you want of Iran no longer having a nuclear enrichment program by which they might be able to produce a weapon? Still remains to be seen. I think the odds of that after the American strikes tonight are very high. But, you know, Israel's campaign the last 9 days also completely unprecedented. I think if you asked anyone who follows the Middle East 2 years ago, what would Iran do if Israel launched a massive military and intelligence
Watching
campaign
Iranian state news, I don't know how much stock you can put into what's being said right now, but they largely seem unfazed because they insist their key nuclear assets were moved out of facilities that were attacked.
Major regional
I know they said that already. I know they said that a couple days ago. They said that they had already, before even the new nuclearization agreement started, that they would move the enriched uranium that they already had to different places, to secret locations. So I don't think they have it there. I don't think they're bluffing. No. That part is not a bluff. I don't think that part is a bluff. But it still doesn't matter. This is a violation of the fucking country's sovereignty, man. What are we talking about? This is America entering the war directly. I suspect that the reason why they're talking about how unfazed they are is because this might show that their response will be relatively restrained again, and then they'll just slowly but surely, death by 1,000 cuts, get fucking destroyed. It's over.
Leader could say, I have to drink from the poison chalice and give up the nuclear program. Here, that choice has been made for him, and how he responds.
Shut the fuck up! Oh my God. U.S. President Donald Trump tells me in a phone call, we had a great success tonight. Your Israel is much safer now. Oh, my God. Donald Trump literally calling Barack Ravid directly. Your Israel is much safer tonight. Yeah, Trump posts after Soleimani strike on January 3rd, 2020. There it is. Trump posts an American flag. Why doesn't Donald Trump go live there, dude? Oh, that's right, because they don't have enough fucking, gay activities that he likes, like fucking Broadway shows, and enough interest in churning out good art. Is that why? You don't want to fucking listen to psytrance every day, Donald Trump? Go live in Israel. Why the fuck are you the president of America? The Atomic Energy Organization of Iran rarely tweets in English, yet its recent English posts center on condemning the International Atomic Energy agency, signaling that Tehran may be gearing up to pull out of its safeguards agreement with the IAEA. Our nuclear facilities have been attacked. Why has the International Atomic Energy Agency remained silent? If these attacks are not condemned, the consequences of our decisions will directly fall upon the International Atomic Energy Agency. We no longer trust the IAEA or its inspection regime. They shouldn't. They shouldn't. They're not wrong. That's not a wrong statement. New reporting from CNN. Trump hopes strikes prompt new diplomacy and isn't currently planning on additional. Dude, we are a delusional country. We are actually a delusional country. Iran confirms via drop site. Spokesperson, here's the first confirmation from Iranian officials on the strikes. Spokesperson for Qom Provincial Crisis Management Headquarters. A few hours ago, the Qom air defenses were activated and hostile targets were identified. Part of the Fordow nuclear site area was attacked by enemy airstrikes. Do we think Iran will retaliate? I don't know. I don't know. Under normal circumstances, yes. If they even care to be Iran going forward, they have to. But given what they've done in the past, their retaliation always has been, including the tit for tat between Israel and Iran this past week, has always been so restrained that that I don't know if they will do the nuclear option, which is not nukes, obviously. The nuclear option in this circumstance would be lighting the fucking Gulf's oil refineries on fire, mining the Strait of Hormuz, and starting a untold barrage, a previously unforeseeable barrage of fucking ballistic missile fires at all American assets in the region, while simultaneously getting Hezbollah to strike Israel now that Israel's air defenses have been depleted, seemingly, considering that even fucking much slower drones were able to penetrate the Israeli Iron Dome, getting Yemen to also strike American assets in the region on the other side, while getting Hezbollah to fucking strike into Israel would be the nuclear option. I don't think that they're going to do that. We shall see. But if they were to even entertain a fraction of what I'm talking about, gas is going to be $1 million, okay? U.S. briefing troops to expect counterstrikes in the region. I know, but if the counterstrikes in the region are limited, like after the Qasem Soleimani assassination from Trump, then it's not that significant. WWE has an event in Riyadh next Saturday. Would blowing up John Cena be seen as a big enough strike on America? I don't know what this will look like. Yeah, if Iran doesn't retaliate, they're just basically telling the world that they're totally chill with what's going on and are basically conceding they don't have sovereignty anymore. It's dire. Yeah, it's basically saying we don't have any anti-air defenses. We don't have any control over our own airspace. We have no control over, we have no protection. You can come in and you can fuck us as hard as you want. Good luck. GG's, well played. GGWP. That is it's... If Iran doesn't retaliate in this circumstance, or even if it retaliates, there still might be a decapitation strike. Okay? If that is imminent, then at that point, it's like, do you want to maintain some semblance of a state? Which then you go into long and extended conflict with the United States of America, which is all but surely going to end the American empire if there was like boots on the ground military warfare. Someone said MAGA would instinctively fall in line, and they are. Matt Gates, President Trump basically wants this to be like the Soleimani strike, one and done, no regime change war, Trump the peacemaker. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that. Good call not going to Bureau card in hindsight, lol. I mean, I wasn't invited. They know I'd be fucking whipping ass. Bernie's live response. Yeah, they're too scared of me over there. They know I'm too much of a good gamer. Don't worry, Dems will follow suit. Iranian officials cited by Fars news agency witnessed attacks near Isfahan and Natanz nuclear facilities. Trump wants Iran to attack U.S. so we can stand in front of Congress and demand troops is fascism, y'all. Chatter, I'm going to keep it $150 with you. There is no Congress, okay? Wake up. The only thing Congress is good for is cutting taxes. That's it. Okay? That's it. That's it. That's it. There is no Congress. This is an illegal act. This is an unconstitutional act. It was an unconstitutional act when every other president did it to Yemen. Make no mistake. That was also unconstitutional. But there is no Congress. There is nothing. This is one man's show. I don't even know if it would be, I guess the major difference would be Democrats probably playing it by the book. Still, the actions would remain the same, but they would probably try to play it as by the book as possible. And the messaging around this would be definitely a lot more airtight. You know, you would hear Brett McGurk say the exact same things, for the record, on CNN. He would be saying the exact same things that he's saying right now, but that would be the domineering narrative. New York Times is salivating. I know. U.S. enters war against Iran. They're so horny. Yeah, I already hit up Sammy when I go to New York to hang out with him, potentially. I just texted Bannon how he knew so far in advance about the bombing in Iran, and he said the party is on. He was at the White House on Thursday for lunch with the president, which suggests a coordinated front to get MAGA on board. Bernie Sanders found out mid-rally about the strike.
This is a statement from Donald Trump. Quote, "We have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran," etc. And I want to tell you something. Not only is this news that I've just heard this second alarming, that all of you have just heard, but it is so grossly unconstitutional. All of you know that the only entity that can take this country to war is the U.S. Congress. The president does not have the right.
Person from Brazil here. We've been enjoying football World Cup for clubs that's happening over in there in the U.S. Most people in the whole world are fucking watching that while Donald idiotic Trump takes your country yet to another war your own country has started. This shit is ridiculous. The whole world is tired. How the fuck do you let it happen over and over again, decade after decade? Because it is not a fucking real democracy. We are not living in a real democracy. Your voices and your opinions do not matter. Real democracy is simply aesthetic. Okay? Most countries do not have what people read in books and understand as theoretical democracy. We don't have it here. You probably have something maybe closer to it, I guess, in Brazil, but not necessarily a real theoretical democracy. We've declared to the rest of the world that every Palestinian, Gaza, and the West Bank, U.S. diplomatic capabilities, Bill of Rights, potential nuclear catastrophe, and now Iran are all worthwhile sacrifices for the... Okay. Israel is mini America. That is true. Sean Hannity reports 6 bunker-busting bombs were dropped on Fort Al from U.S. Air Force B-2 bombers. Isfahan and Natanz. Felix Biederman is Jewish, for chatters who don't know. Isfahan and Natanz targeted with Tomahawk cruise missiles from submarines. Straight out of Top Gun Maverick. Hot damn. Should I quit my job or what? I don't know. I'll tell you maybe in a couple hours, if not in a couple days. Because while this was telegraphed ahead of time, I kept repeating over and over again that it is all a matter of how Iran responds. If Iran, which is well within their rights, attacks American positions in the region, because there are so many fucking bases, and those bases are not as protected as Israel, because remember, Israel high, of course, M is real high, M is real high, 10 times, maybe 20 times. Please, of course. They do not have the same fucking level of protection. Those bases do not have the same protection that Israel does, because all of our money and all of our air defenses are base boosting Israel right now, so they can do fucking genocide in Gaza. And they can fucking siege and occupy further Syrian territory. Maybe even fucking fight with Turkey along the way, which is a fucking NATO ally and working at the behest of America to begin with. And also simultaneously, take some of this additional conflict to Iran as well. A U.S. official says that multiple 30K pound GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators were dropped on Iran's Fordow nuclear enrichment facility. The facility has been taken off the table, according to the New York Times. U.S. informed Iran before the strike. CBS News, U.S. reached out to Iran diplomatically Saturday to say the strikes are all the U.S. plans and that regime efforts are not planned. Why would anybody believe that? Why the fuck would Iran, if you believe that, if you're an Iranian diplomat or an Iranian fucking, if you're a member of the IRGC, if you're the Ayatollah, and you believe that even for a second, then you're the dumbest person on the planet. Threatening messages towards U.S. have started to air on Iranian TV, according to the New York Times. Oh my God, I can't believe they're making threatening messages. A news anchor said on Iranian state television, Mr. Trump, you started it and we will end it. The broadcast showed a large graphic of American bases in the Middle East with the headline, within the firing range of Iran. The anchor said the United States had no legitimate place in the region. I mean, that was true before they started fucking bombing the nuclear facility. I hate to say that this is yet another thing that I told you. There was much hay made about how, is this disrupting the MAGA base? What does America first mean? This is what America first means. Nick Mullen was right, okay? When he said, Patriots, get ready to suck Trump's dick and get ready to eat his cum and also maybe let him bust in your ass. By God, this American patriot is ready to do so. This is what that means, okay? This is what that fucking means. That's what America first is. I didn't say that. Nick Mullen did. Get mad at him. I can't believe I said all that with 8,000 people watching. But it's true. I'm sorry to all the family members that you, for the first time ever, tuned in to watch your favorite political commentator. It had to be said. I'm hearing a lot of name calling in the chat, but no one's calling me a liar. That was someone's first impression of you? Good. Yeah. These guys are ready to fillet him harder than Melania ever did, okay? Yeah, here is him 4 days ago. 60% don't want America involved in war with Iran. Repeat of 2003? No, it's worse. As everything has gotten worse for the past multiple decades at this point in America, even America's war fighting has gotten worse. Even the fucking machine that is supposed to manufacture consent has gotten worse. That's precisely why when after 9/11, when America talked about invading Iraq for no fucking reason and then lying about them having weapons of mass destruction, it was that campaign of lies was infinitely more sophisticated than what the Trump administration did. The Trump administration didn't even go to the UN with a respectable figurehead that is trusted by international resources like Colin Powell and hold up like a fucking vial and be like, this is terrifying. They didn't do any like Senate hearings about how our intelligence assessment shows that, Iran has weapons of mass destruction. They did the opposite. Tulsi Gabbard came out and was like, yeah, our intelligence community's assessment is that Iran does not have any new enrichment interest or capabilities, basically. And then they didn't even try. They basically were like, no, we're going to fucking bomb Iran because Israel wants us to do so. And we love fucking Israel. We hate you. We hate you. Americans, we hate you. We love Israel. We will do what Israel says we will do, okay? They are the brave war fighters in the fucking region. They know best. Miriam Adelson gave me $150 million, okay? The very same Miriam Adelson who made a brilliant decision to fucking trade Luka to the Lakers. Now, I'm a fan of LeBron James, okay? Not to sidestep too much away from this conversation. So I don't fucking mind it. But if you're a Dallas Maverick and you still think Israel is a valid state and you're not demanding to dismantle it, Okay? Remember, Miriam Adelson, #1 Trump donor after Elon Musk, did that fucking Luka trade. Why did she do it? Because she wanted to move the Dallas Mavericks to Las Vegas. Miriam Adelson, wife of former Jabba the Hutt, Sheldon Adelson, who's dead now, rest in piss, is a casino magnate. And because they would not let her put fucking casinos in Texas, she said, fuck it, I'm going to tank your franchise team, and I'm going to move that franchise team that I bought from Mark Cuban, another fucking asshole billionaire, and move it to Las Vegas. Now remember that, okay? Remember that. If you don't care about Israel sending your friends to potentially go and die to Shahed drones, fucking striking them in the dome because, you know, that had to be done so that we can, I don't know, advance America's interests, advance Israel's interests in the region. Get mad because Miriam Adelson wanted that to happen, gave Trump $150 million fucking dollars to make sure that that happens. And Trump said, yes, ma'am, I love you. I will, of course, do your bidding. I will, of course, hold out Benjamin Netanyahu's seat and push it in when he comes and visits. I will give him a standing ovation. Sky News 3 minutes ago, Trump says Iran will get hit again if it doesn't make peace immediately. What peace? Has there been a moment of respite for Iran since Israel decided, fuck the nuclear agreement, we're just going to bomb you instead? What do you mean? There are obviously lots of factors that contribute to our horrible glib media coverage, but a major one is that most of our pundits and anchors view dropping bombs on brown and black people as a game. They have fully dehumanized most of the world before they even get the job. Glad to see Brian Stelter thinks this is hilarious. Oh, it's just like Top Gun, dude. Yeah, you want to know why he's saying that? Because his son or his nephew is not in the fucking military, okay? Because he's going to be fine. It's going to fucking turn into ratings for him. That's what he cares about. He cares that he's going to get eyeballs and attention. The media's going to be relevant again. You know what I mean? He doesn't care about all the fucking Iranian people that are probably going to die as a consequence of this. Oh.
And welcome to Hannity. We begin tonight with...
Also, the fact that they're like leaking information about the historic event that just took place to Sean fucking Hannity is yet another indication of the collapse of America. Okay? What is this? So do you? Are you trying to say so you don't? Or mean so do you? I'm not going to die for this country? No, fuck no, I'm not going to die for this country. And let me tell you something, okay? At least I'm also advocating to make sure you don't die for this country, okay? That's the difference between me and fucking Brian Stelter.
With this Fox News alert, I just spoke to the President of the United States. I have some new information and breaking details to share about tonight's what is historic air campaign. Now, tonight, Iran's nuclear ambitions, they are officially dead. It appears the United States just completely obliterated Iran's top secret Fordo nuclear facility with 6 huge
Would you die for Turkey? Fuck no.
bombs. It was originally speculated that you would only need
Stupid.
2. It turns out they used 5 to 6 dropped from America's stealth B-2 bombers. And that's not all. 2 other major Iranian nuclear sites, Natanz and Esfahan, were wiped out with 30 Tomahawk missiles launched by American submarines some 400 miles away. Everyone is out of harm's way for now. That does not mean that American assets in the region are not at risk. And
Al-Mayadeen Live says Iran advises the Iranian Parliament Speaker Mehdi Mohammadi the 3 nuclear sites were not irreparably damaged in the U.S. attack. Now, when Iran says shit like that, instead of screaming bloody murder, that means that their response is going to be incredibly limited, perhaps. But that also means that this continues. Like they're gonna America, and more importantly, Israel, especially Israel, not even America. Israel only responds to retaliation in kind. That is the only language that they speak. Okay? And if it's not punishing enough for Israeli society, it's not disruptive enough, they're going to keep going. And so is America. White House monitoring possible Iranian sleeper cells in the U.S. My story. Oh, great. Oh, great. Oh, get ready for the fucking anthrax shit again. Maybe they'll run that back too. They ran the WMD nonsense. Maybe they'll do the fucking anthrax attacks are happening all around the country so that they can universalize the paranoia a little bit because the American population doesn't have the healthy appetite to go to war with Iran. Yeah, time for some fucking false flags. Iranian state TV, every American citizen or military in the region is now a target. Yeah. Yeah, we're not going to get drafted. We're going to go to jail for fucking being conscientious objectors and people who protest this fucking war. Trump now called Netanyahu. White House official, President Trump spoke by phone with Prime Minister Netanyahu after the U.S. attack on Iran. Of course, you got to call Big Papa. You got to call Big Papa. You got to be like, Big Papa, did I do it right? Did I do it good, Big Papa? Trump is now calling Reuters. Trump to Reuters in brief phone interview. This was an amazing success tonight. Trump, they should make peace immediately. Trump, they should stop immediately. Otherwise, they'll get hit again. They know most Americans suspect none of this is defensive or are checked out, so this non-story makes everything an episode of 24 and sows the requisite panic and racism. As you know, of course, the obsession with sleeper cells and the reason why the FBI and White House have been pushing this talking point out nonstop is it brings the war home and reinforces the false narrative that Iran is a threat to Americans. It's threat level orange schlock for lazy reporters. That's all this is, for the record. That is all this is. God, American society is about to get so much dumber. Holy fuck. I mean, we were already at maximum stupidity and maximum racism. Get ready. It is about to be a fucking roller coaster. Oh. Yeah. Countdown to the anti-Islamic crackdown in the U.S. There's that. Islamophobic hate crimes. War finna turn me trans. No trans in the military. No, I mean, I joked about that the other day, but like low key. You know? Get the medical reports ready. We're all non-binary now. A wave. U.S. President Donald J. Trump is hopeful. Okay, we covered that already. I can't tell what Iran's response is going to be to this because if it's like Qasem Soleimani, they just like blow up a couple American bases, maybe kill a couple troops, and then they pack it up. And then they push the can of destabilization down the line, maybe like a couple months. But if there's like severe escalation, I don't know. Who knows where that goes? Yeah. Look at that. March 26, 2003. This war will destabilize the entire Middle East region and set off a global shockwave of anti-Americanism. Add also anti-Semitism to that too. For the record, this time at least we've added a new ally to the anti-sentiment because it won't just stay at anti-Americanism. It's gonna be a lot of gonna be a fuck ton of anti-Semitism as well. Versus no, it won't. And part of that is because they weren't even airtight. They didn't even justify, they didn't even find like a casus belli. They just straight up were like, no, we're doing this for Israel. After spending the last year and a half being like, Israel is the Jewish nation state. And if they don't, if you fucking say that they shouldn't kill children, you're an anti-Semite, you're a Jew hater, we should throw you in jail. What the fuck are Americans gonna think after all of this? The Islamophobia is going to explode as well, of course. I'm just reporting on what I suspect will happen with anti-Semitism because, like, you know, the institutional control over that form of bigotry will probably fucking be woefully inept at dealing with the sea of with the wave of anti-Semitism exploding in the country. So yeah, you know, welcome to where we've been.
Real on smaller ones, largely because for the smaller ones, the stakes are existential. If this were a one and done exercise, 3 successful strikes against Fordo is fine.
Do you think Obama's?
And Untouched
No.
particularly is fine, by the way. People aren't paying attention to the fact that they're...
Chatters, Iran does not have a capability of fucking hitting U.S. They don't have any ballistic missiles that can reach the United States. Why do you think we're such a fucking violent, belligerent nation? It is because we are sheltered by proximity. Okay? At most, they could do like, I don't know, like a terror attack, but I feel like they're a little bit busy right now to implement a successful terror attack on U.S. soil. They got their hands full. You know what I mean? There are also 40,000 American troops right at the ass cheeks of Iran right now in perfect striking distance. So I think there's plenty of Americans that they could kill in the immediate vicinity if they have even the capability to do so, or even if they have the interest in doing so. Well said, Mud Slime at Hasanabi. Is Mud Slime like a Islamophobic take? Is this like a new thing I haven't heard before? Like, is that a different way of saying Muslim? Is that a slur? Damn, I'd never heard that one before. And I hear I hear crazy shit all the time. That's a new one for me. New slur unlocked. New old slur. He's picking up the phone for everybody. Jonathan Karl, ABC News chief Washington correspondent. I called President Trump about 10 minutes ago. He didn't talk details or next steps, but he wanted to say this. Tremendous success tonight. Careful, you're going to be banned for showing slurs. I think this person is probably going to be banned, not me. Yeah, this was the leader of the Senate Democrats. He got his wishes, though. If Taco Trump is already folding on Iran, the American people need to know about it. No side deals. Remember when Chuck Schumer a few weeks ago came out with this blistering criticism? Do you think there will be a Chinese response to this? I think if there was any sort of Chinese intervention, this would not have happened. That's what I think.
Have we really accomplished? You've bought time, probably a lot of time, but the story's far from over.
I want to go to Jim Sciutto, who's been looking into measures to protect U.S. forces in the region. Jim?
Anderson, I'm told that U.S. forces in the region, quite understandably, were advised to take shelter until it was clear that there was no immediate Iranian response. They will then remain on high alert for some time because, of course, that response could come at any time, even if it's not in the minutes or hours right after the attack. That's an understandable step to take and one that would have happened in advance of these attacks. And to Brett McGurk's point earlier, when we have seen attacks in the past, for instance, the killing of Soleimani in Trump's first term, there were Iranian responses specifically targeting U.S. forces in the region.
Yeah,
those
this is
US
the other
forces
side of this, by the way.
were impacted.
Trita Parsi's analysis is correct. He's from Quincy Institute. Trump just guaranteed that Iran will be a nuclear weapon state in the next 5 to 10 years, particularly if the regime changes. Definitely. The real fear is if Iran retaliates in kind, okay, and launches a brutal fucking counterattack. I don't even know if they have the capacity to do so, to be fair. But let's say they did. Right? And in the process, America engages in a decapitation strike. America engages in a decapitation strike alongside Israel. They kill the Iranian leadership. What comes next is going to be a torrent of violence. Like Iraqi Shias revolting, Hezbollah with whatever capabilities they have, launching as many attacks as possible. The reason why I say this is because power vacuums is what creates militancy like ISIS. Okay? This is what happened in Iraq. This is what happened in Libya. Open air slave markets. What people fail to comprehend is that the Iranian Ayatollah, the Islamic Republic, is the only diplomatic outcome here. They are the ones who were demonstrating restraint. They were the ones who were willing to do diplomacy. They were the ones who were willing to play ball with the West, to a detriment, mind you, And this attack shows that. You need to understand, they are a centralized force. When Trump says, we know where you are, we can kill you at a moment's notice, the thing that stops America and Israel from killing Ayatollah Khamenei is not because like they're afraid or something. They're like afraid of like the retaliation or because they simply can't find him. His bunker is too fucking powerful or whatever. No, they could kill him at a moment's notice if they wanted to. Trump is right when he says that. The reason why they don't do that is because they're calculating what the best possible day after is for Iran. So even at a certain point, the American leadership also understands that if they were to kill the most restrained version of Iranian leadership, what comes after is going to be significantly more invested in punishing every other fucking regional operative. No more restraint. Sure, it actually cripples the logistics for all of the axis of resistance states in the region, but they're already getting some help from China, like Yemen is getting help from China. You have to understand, like, they're no longer going to hold back at all. And they will be uncontrollable.
Sites over the course of the
particularly
last week.
In terms of whether there's any fallout from this, because that's the other thing we're not even discussing here. 3 nuclear sites were bombed today with huge, powerful, forceful
Never used.
bunker bombs.
I mean, the bunker bombs never used before, so we have never seen this before. No one has.
No one's seen it, and so we don't have a sense yet of what the fallout will be, nor what the strategic success will be.
Here, let's hear what Donald Trump had to say. What was perhaps one of the most powerful fucking statements he made on the campaign trail that was definitely different from the rest of the Republicans the first time he ran.
The war in Iraq was a big, fat mistake, all right? Now, you can take it any way you want, and it took Jeb Bush, if you remember at the beginning of his announcement, when he announced for president, took him 5 days. He went back. It was a mistake. It wasn't a mistake. Took him 5 days before his people told him what to say. And he ultimately said it was a mistake. The war in Iraq, we spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives. We don't even have it. Iran is taking over Iraq with the second largest oil reserves in the world. Obviously, it was a mistake. So George Bush made a mistake. We can make mistakes, but that one was a beauty. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East.
But so you still think he should be impeached?
I think it's my turn, isn't it? You do whatever you want. You call it whatever you want. I want to tell you, they lied. Okay. They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no.
He didn't change, for the record. He did not, like, you know, people are like, oh, he was way more fiery. No, he's just fucking lying back then, too. Guys, what are you talking about? He was president for 4 years after this, and he continued destabilizing the region. What do you mean? Why do you think I kept saying Donald Trump is not a fucking peaceful dove? I cannot believe the Democrats are literally conceding territory to Donald Trump last election cycle to rerun the peaceful dove narrative once again because Joe Biden is doing a fucking unlimited genocide campaign for Israel. He is going to be just as bad, if not fucking worse, than the Harris administration and the Biden administration that was currently doing the unlimited child holocaust in fucking Gaza. It's not like we didn't know. The problem is the Democrats are so also invested in unlimited war. They're such fucking annoying war hawks that Trump was able to lie again a second time around and present himself once again as a peaceful dove. Oh.
No weapons of mass destruction.
All right. Governor Bush.
Yes, I'm going to be covering Trump's speech in 26 minutes or whenever the fuck he goes live. Oh. Yeah, Iran is saying that the impacts are overblown, signals that they might not be as violent in retaliation. Fartux Network, Meteostat 9 detected a flash over the Fort Hour enrichment plant. The event registered at 3.90 micrometers and was visible on nighttime microphysics scans. The location aligns with the salt plain east of Fort Hour. That's it? That sounds so crazy. That looks like a little baby. I don't understand. I mean, I don't know what it's supposed to look like.
While
so.
this communication lasts, I'm wondering, are you seeing anything, or are you hearing anything new on the ground there in Tehran?
Hi there, Anderson. Yeah, I'm outside right now here in Tehran. The skies here are actually pretty quiet, but as we've been saying before, there was a lot of air defense activity going on here in Tehran over the course of the night, and there are, of course, now several Iranian regional officials who are now confirming that strikes seem to have taken place on the area of at least two of these nuclear facilities that we've been talking about, specifically in the Qom region. The Qom region is south of Tehran. It's where the Fordo nuclear site is located, and a regional official there was saying that a few hours ago, obviously that was in the middle of the night here in Iran.
That's true. The explosion is it penetrates first, and then the explosion is delayed. I forgot. The GBU-57, so the impact is like hard to, but I still assume that it, like, if it blows up in the fucking nuclear facility, there'd be, we would probably see something more, right?
Air forces. So that's what a regional official there is saying. But when they talk about air defenses being activated, some of them are sort of short-range air defenses. One of the things that we've been seeing here, especially over Tehran, as the night's been going on, but also in the past couple of nights, a lot of those were anti-aircraft guns that were being activated. I've seen less anti-aircraft missiles being fired into the air, even though Iran certainly still does have that capability. Also in the Isfahan region, the Isfahan region is in central Iran, and that's actually where the Isfahan nuclear facility is located, but also where the Natanz nuclear facility is located as well. And there also a regional official is saying that they witnessed what they call intrusions near those nuclear facilities, obviously meaning intrusions into the airspace there, that then air defenses were also activated to confront hostile targets, as they put it, but that several explosions were heard in that facility, in those facilities as well. So the Iranians now having local officials confirming that explosions took place at those nuclear facilities here in Iran, but again, still trying to come to terms with what is going on there. Still very little information coming out, but certainly it does seem as though regional officials...
It looks like we lost that communication. We had a video actually from Fred Pleitgen before earlier this evening that we were going to show. I don't know if we have it ready right now, but let's get that because it does show what he's talking about. It was video I believe he shot, or his crew shot, from Tehran earlier in the evening. I'm not sure. I think it was around in the 9 o'clock or 9:30 time frame p.m. in Tehran, and you see some bursts in the air. You also just hear anti-aircraft fire, but it gives you a sense of sort of, it's just anti-aircraft fire. It doesn't seem like it's a lot of interceptors, the type of which we see here in Tel Aviv and other cities in Israel, giving a sense of the level of air defenses that they still have left.
What the fuck did Hakeem Jeffrey say? Wait, hold on. Before I look at it, I'm assuming, hold on. I'm not even looking, okay? I'm gonna predict that he's going to say that this was illegal. This was illegal only because it was conducted unilaterally by the administration without getting congressional approval. And he might even heavily imply once again that he would have been on board with the attacks because Iran must not have a nuclear weapon and Israel has a right to defend itself. Let's see if I'm correct. Donald Trump promised to bring peace to the Middle East. He has failed to deliver on that promise. The risk of war has now dramatically increased. The risk of war? It's war, man. What do you mean the risk of war? We're in war. What? Okay, good start. And I pray for the safety of our troops in the region who are put in harm's way. President Trump misled. It's war. What do you mean our troops are put in harm's way? Donald Trump did an act of war against a sovereign state. That's like this is giving this brave Israeli hostage was kidnapped from a tank. Like they're soldiers in a military base that is now becoming an active zone of conflict. What do you mean? President Trump misled the country about his intentions, failed to seek congressional authorization for the use of military force, and risks, oh my God, again, risks American entanglement in a potentially disastrous war in the Middle East. First, the Trump administration bears the heavy burden of explaining to the American people why this military action was undertaken. Second, Congress must be fully and immediately briefed in a classified setting. Third, Donald Trump shoulders complete and total responsibility for any adverse consequences that flow from his unilateral military action. Holy fuck. Yeah, but he's no longer Taco Trump. Yeah, I don't care. I wanted him to be Taco Trump on this. I don't give a shit. What is this? A U.S. CH-47 Chinook helicopter was spotted flying over Aviv, reportedly conducting evacuations. I think a lot of people, their immediate fear in this is like, oh, we're going to war, like we're going to be unsafe, like Iran is going to nuke us or something. Iran does not have the actual targeting capabilities, okay? Iran does not have like the ballistic missiles that they could launch at the United States of America, okay? What you should be upset about and what you should be fearful about and what you should be gearing up for is that in spite our incredible proximity to all of the fucking chaos that we create over there, the impact will be met with economic instability here, okay? The impact will be met when your family members that are in the military because they wanted to get a fucking comms degree for free because we don't have free healthcare and we don't have free college education in this fucking goddamn country are now possibly going to get their shit blown up. That is how you're going to feel the impact. Just as we did after 9/11, just as America experienced the impact for years. Okay? If you don't care about all of the potential Iranian civilian casualties in this process, because we just chose to destabilize a massive regional superpower, a massive regional power that has been around for a very long time, Mehdi Mohammadi, a senior advisor to Mohammad Ghalibaf, the speaker of the Iranian parliament. From Iran's perspective, nothing particularly surprising has happened. Iran has been expecting an attack on Fordow for several nights. The site was evacuated long ago and has not sustained any irreversible damage in the strike. Two things are certain. First, knowledge cannot be bombed. Second, this time, the gambler will lose. If we invade Iran but get universal healthcare, would that be okay? What are you talking about? The very fact that we're even talking about having a military capable of invading Iran, which, make no mistake, would be devastating for America as well as Iran, is the very fact that you will never have health care. There's an opportunity cost to having endless empire, okay? And that opportunity cost is you not getting health care. What did I just tell you? It serves two different purposes. One, you don't get to have health care. It's private. You have to pay for it. That is great for the GDP, okay? Numbers on the fucking board. But two, in order to get that health care, now you have to be a loyal servant of the Defense Department. You have to sell your soul to the Pentagon and hope that you don't get your shit blown up in the process so you can have a little bit of that free health care. Something that other countries give to their citizens unconditionally. Something that fucking Israel, as a matter of fact, gives its citizens. Isn't that nice? Don't worry, Israel. We'll foot the bill. We'll keep shipping billions of dollars of weapons and anti-air defense systems so that you can be safe as you decide to launch an 8-front war while you're doing a fucking genocide. And don't worry, you can have your health care, you can have free college, W Israel, sick. The president's disastrous decision to bomb Iran without authorization is a grave violation of the Constitution and congressional war powers. He has impulsively risked launching a war that they may ensnare us for generations. It is absolutely and clearly grounds for impeachment. At least you said it's grounds for impeachment. Like, the anti-war position here is supposed to be, why the fuck are we going to war with Iran at the behest of Israel against the fucking intelligence community's own assessment? The American intelligence community, which has never met a war it doesn't like, literally was saying There's no reason to do this. There was a negotiation process taking place. According to sources, the VP, SecDef, and DNI advised against getting involved. Why have them if you're not going to listen to them? I suspect that might be, that's just probably speculation. Look, this is what I said. I said the U.S. attacked Iran's nuclear facilities while using a denuclearization negotiation as cover for Israel to implement a first strike because Israel lied about Iran having WMDs against our own intelligence community's assessment, all while talking about Iran's disinterest in diplomacy. And now you are watching every single one of these motherfucking MAGA.
President Trump.
Of course he's doing it English. Oh, of course. Netanyahu thanks Trump after the Iran attacks. Of course, dude. Here's Trump's daddy. Let's hear what daddy has to say. Let's see what the real daddy has to say, okay? Let's see what the big dog has to say. Of course, he's delivering a fucking English response, you know, for one man and one man only, really, when you think about it. This is not for the Americans listening. This is certainly not for Israeli side, even though, 75% of Israelis speak English. This is for one man, okay? This is for one man and one man only, okay? That man is Donald Trump. Let's hear what he had to say.
Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history. In Operation Rising Lion, Israel has done truly amazing things. But in tonight's action against Iran's nuclear facilities, America has been truly unsurpassed.
I asked my hog brother. He said leaked intel showed Iran was 2 weeks from a nuke. U.S. and Israel already knew. He was against action 3 days ago. Now it makes sense. His wife has military ties. Here's inside chatter. Says China gave Iran weapons hoping they'd use them on us. Yet also doesn't want them to have nukes. Thoughts? No thoughts. I actually am going to, once I end the broadcast later tonight, bludgeon my head against the wall so I can be just as fucking moronic as your dumb hog relative so that I can live a life of happiness and constantly have no thoughts up here and only just go by whatever the fuck Trump is saying. Oh my God, it would be fantastic for my media career. Perhaps I could be just like fucking Asmongold, okay? I'll just become a hog. I'll just go, yeah, based, this guy, yeah, chat, war with Iran, based.
It has done what no other country on earth could do. History will record that President Trump acted to deny the world's most dangerous regime the world's most dangerous weapons. His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond.
Literally Yuba, okay? Come on, chatter. What kind of analysis have you gotten from any other fucking outlet that literally told you down to the fucking day that this was going to happen? Was there, I'm sorry, where were you getting your news from? Tell me about who your fucking favorite newscaster was that was literally also openly fucking explaining exactly the events that were going to unfold in the exact ways that it did. Go ahead. Holy fuck, look how many Twitch badges this guy has. Jesus Christ, please get a life. Jesus, Lord mercy, never mind. Your account is freaking me out.
To a future of prosperity and peace. President Trump and I often say, peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes peace. And tonight, President Trump and the United States acted with a lot of strength. President Trump, I thank you. The people of Israel thank you. The forces of civilization thank you. God bless America. God bless Israel. And may God bless our unshakable alliance, our unbreakable faith.
Fucking. Senior White House official also confirms the White House gave a courtesy heads up on the Iran strike to congressional leadership. No, that's not true. I've heard very conflicting reports on this. I don't think that's real. First of all, you can't just give a heads up to Congress. Okay, you can't just be like, hey, by the way, heads up, we're going to war with Iran. That's not how this works. What do you mean? And secondly, I don't even know if that's the case because a lot of fucking people have been saying that, no, they did not actually get a heads up at all. Initial Iranian reports claim the U.S. hit Fordow. Initial Iranian reports claim the U.S. hit Fordow with just 2 bombs at the entrance, not the massive 30,000-pound bombs. The bunker busters one's hype, potentially symbolic, not strategic. Fordow was reportedly evacuated, material moved. The real question now, how will Iran respond? Mike Pence. Remember, we don't know the exact impact of this. We don't know the exact impact of this strike. Okay, but if it's like a feint, if it's like a very, very limited strike, just to showcase American targeting capabilities, American air superiority, all this stuff, to try to fucking bully the Iranian leadership into, I guess, like taking taking whatever fucking deal that they will present, which is probably kill yourself with a gun, please, and then give the country over to the Shah. Every single person in American leadership is running around. Every single person in American leadership is currently running around and celebrating this shit. Okay? They're running around and being like, thank God the president blew up Iran. This is fucking sick. President Trump is going to be speaking in 8 minutes, and we'll hear what he has to say. Here's what Michael Penis said. U.S. House Speaker Mike Penis. The president made the right call and did what he needed to do. Leaders in Congress were aware of the urgency of the situation, and the commander-in-chief evaluated the imminent danger outweighed the time it would take for Congress to act. The world's largest state sponsor of terrorism, which chants death to America. Oh, my God. Still talking about death to America. I'm going to fucking lose my mind. Brother, of course they say death to America. We've been fucking them over for the past 50 fucking years. Why wouldn't they say death to America? Way before they said death to America, they tried to say, hey, we like America. Can you please help us? And then we did things over there that made them turn around and say, actually, never mind, death to America. This is really fucked up. Yeah, of course they're going to say death to America. Look at Iran. Look at the situation they're in. Look at the situation they're in right now. Look at the past 70 fucking years of intervention in the region. This is what I always tell chatters as well when they talk about this, okay? I say, you hate Iran, or our leadership hates Iran, okay? And they haven't even done anything. Iran has done nothing to any American, really. Like, at most, you can point to, like, proxy forces or some shit, okay? Whereas we have done a fuck ton of awful violence and instability to Iran. Of course they're going to say death to America. You say death to America, they haven't done shit to you. I mean, not death to America. You say death to Iran, and they haven't done shit to you. The hostage crisis. Yeah, I know. I wonder how that happened. How did that happen? Again, why would anybody like us? Why would anybody in the fucking region like us? The Iran's regime is not to be defended. I don't give a fuck about the Islamic Republic, you dumb fuck. You are so goddamn stupid if you think that this is a defense of the non-secular or fundamentalist governance of the Islamic Republic. What the fuck are you talking about? In Georgia, the Republican administration forced a woman who had become a vegetable to carry a pregnancy to term. They literally cut her body and cut the fucking fetus out of her body because the body was rotting. Do you think that this gives a righteous cause for Iran to nuke Georgia? No, I don't. Do you? People do awful, nonsensical things to their own fucking citizens all the time. This is not a good reason. It is not a good reason to fucking bomb the country and destabilize it further. Half of the reason why these countries don't have the woke civil struggles that we have gone through, and then there's still a fucking shit ton of issues here in America, is because we're constantly placing them in a state of panic. They're too worried about being exploded to actually go out and march on the fucking streets and be like, hey, we want gay rights. It's the biggest fucking lie that Americans have told other dumb Americans who love believing in it because they have to maintain a position of superiority. And it's oftentimes a lie that is told by people who are themselves conservative. That's why it's insane when Lindsey Graham, a closeted gay man, goes on fucking Fox News and says, oh yeah, Iran, they throw gays off the roof, which is not even real for the record. Iran throws gays off the roof. It's like, bro, you're a homophobe. You're a closeted gay man who is a homophobic person. Like, what do you mean Iran throws gay people off the roof? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's insane. It's like conservatives hate brown people that are conservative. And they don't give a fuck about all the progressive brown people that die in the process. They hate brown conservatives for their conservatism. Look in a goddamn mirror. Why would you send me the fucking Twitter broadcast link of Donald Trump? The Iranian Nuclear Atomic Agency statement has been released. I'm going to read that, and then we'll get to the Trump broadcast. Someone send me an actual link, please. Statement from the Atomic Energy Organization. Following the brutal attacks of the Zionist enemy over the past few days, at dawn today, the country's nuclear sites in Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan were attacked by the enemies of Islamic Iran in a barbaric act that contradicts international law, especially the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. This is true. This action, contrary to international law, was unfortunately carried out in the shadow of indifference and even cooperation of the International Atomic Energy Agency. The American enemy, through cyberspace, has claimed responsibility for the attack on the aforementioned sites, which are under the continuous supervision of the International Atomic Energy Agency, based on the Safeguards Agreement and the NPT Treaty. The international community is expected to condemn the lawlessness based on the rules of the jungle and support Iran in achieving its legitimate rights. The Atomic Energy Organization of Iran assures the great Iranian nation that despite the evil conspiracies of its enemies, with the efforts of thousands of its revolutionary motivated scientists and specialists, it will not allow the development of this national industry, which is the result of the blood of nuclear martyrs, to be stopped. This organization has put the necessary measures, including legal action, on its agenda to defend the rights of the noble Iranian nation. I thought they were going to pull out. This is also a very limited, restrained, legal response that is within the legal confines. So they're not even saying, I don't think Iran's retaliation, maybe I'm wrong, and I hope I'm not wrong on this, but I don't think Iran's retaliation is going to be that fucking crazy. I think unless this is a mistranslation, because it's from Farsi to English, I don't know. I think basically Iran is going to continue being restrained and diplomatic against an increasingly belligerent enemy, as this increasingly belligerent enemy completely fucking destroys all of its resources, exhausts its fucking resources. They're downplaying the impact of the strikes, which there's truth to, right? This is a violation of their sovereignty in spectacular fashion. Having said that, I believe that they reported days ago, almost a week ago, that they had moved the enriched uranium away from the Fordow facility. So I think they're going to be like, oh, this wasn't even that big of a hit. We only got a little boo-boo, and who knows what happens after that. According to the stock guy, Iran is isolated and has no support from others unless Trump attacks Islam religion. Nothing is really significant per his Friday stream. I mean, that's a funny take, but it's not wrong. Iran is a very isolated. It's isolated regionally. It's also clearly not being adequately defended by the larger powers that would normally rush to defend it. I don't think China is going to do anything. And Trump is not on yet. I don't know why you guys are saying he's on. Why is he not on? Why am I not seeing it? Send me the fucking link. Are you guys baiting me? Typical fucking streamer. He's late. Dude, typical streamer. Typical streamer, he's late. He's live on ABC. Oh my God, Brett McGurk is still nutting. Oh my God, they're all, look at this. Look at all the coverage. Every single coverage is like, look at how sick this is, dude. Look at how sick this is. We fucking destroyed them. He's live? No, he's not live. Do you see him?
Thank you very much.
What?
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise.
What
Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat
Also
posed by
subscribe
the world's
while you're here
#1 state sponsor of
to
terror.
the Piker Broadcasting Service.
Tonight I can report to the world
which is
that
ad-free.
the strikes were a spectacular
And you can subscribe for free with a Twitch
military
Prime
success.
by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch
Iran's
account.
key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and
The
totally
Piker Broadcasting Service is
obliterated.
exclusively funded
Iran,
by you,
the
the
bully
viewers.
of the Middle
For
East,
you, the viewers.
must now make peace.
Thank you.
If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin-Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far.
Is that good? Did I do good?
And perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel. And God bless America. Thank you very much.
God bless Israel?
Thank you.
First of all, the idea that there's no other military that's capable of doing this is a fucking abject lie. The only difference is we get to do it because we are the dominant power on the planet. It's not a matter of capability. It's a matter of, one, restraint, and it's a matter of, obviously, mutually assured destruction and retaliation that would happen. Okay? Like, flexing that you could fucking strike Iran is ridiculous. Yeah, of course you can fucking strike Iran. What do you mean? But so can Russia, so can China. And they can do that to us as well, as a matter of fact. The reason why they don't do that is because, one, China is always trade maxing and nutting at the prospect of more trade opportunities that can unfold potentially. And Russia's got their fucking hands too busy with Ukraine. Yeah, this is the primary takeaway. Trump says if peace doesn't come quickly, that the U.S. will go after other Iranian targets. Stop this fear-mongering crap. This was much needed. Guy living in a fucking trailer park in Terre Haute, Indiana, fantasizing about how much better the world is because America spent the healthcare money that you will never get on a massive fucking bombing campaign on the other side of the planet. You and others like you are exactly the reason why we will never have rebellion in this country. We will never have a revolution in this country. And you will forever exist in a world of anger and resentment and will never understand why you are fucked over all the time and why your living standards never get better. Okay? Biden sent $300 billion to Ukraine and more money to Israel. And do you think I like Biden? You fucking moron. Shut the fuck up. You don't understand anything. What is wrong with you? It's not partisan. American foreign policy is uniparty. These people that you think you're on board with, this team that you think is actually fucking doing right by you, is doing the exact same fuck shit that Biden did, but you hate when Biden does it, but you love it when Trump does it? It makes no fucking sense. Neither of these teams give a fuck about you. Wake up. That's my point. Why are you lying and saying all these falsehoods? You're so dishonest. Endless deaths. Continue with your rhetoric, my dude. Trump just went and struck 3 nuclear facilities, violating numerous international human rights and protocols set in place, including the non-proliferation, the nuclear proliferation treaty. And my assessment of those events are what's causing the deaths. A Twitch streamer. Do you hear yourself? I know when you wrote that with your tongue sticking out of the side of your mouth, you were like, I'm about to get him with this. It's a fucking real banger. But the only thing you've done is basically expose how unimaginably stupid you are. Okay? My dude, good job. Open the schools. Open what schools? We're going to open the schools. The schools also suck dick because, sorry, all the money's going to Israel and all the money's going so we can fucking bomb Iran. Slasher says, as we enter the next major world war that will take tens of thousands of lives, I just want to say that I now feel much safer from anti-Semitism. The biggest fear of my life. Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, also remember, literally half the country also is now going, oh, why did he thank Israel? Are we doing this shit for the Jews? Which is, of course, certainly not going to explode anti-Semitism in this country either. The great anti-Semitism destroyer, Donald Trump, fucking running around being like, Shalom, Mahmoud, and like arresting people for saying Israel should stop killing children. He's making it real safe. Anyway, everyone that thinks the world is ending, I do not know what Iran's response is going to be, but judging by what Iran has done, restraint to a fault, as I've said thus far, I don't think it'll be as we'll see. I don't think it'll be as devastating as you think it might be. You clearly don't know much about politics, Law. It's true. I don't understand how any of this works. I think whether because Iran simply does not have the capabilities. Oh yeah, a God bless Israel in a POTUS address to the nation. And technically, their anti-Semitism will be valid based on the fact that Israel supporters claim it's inextricably a Jewish state for Jewish people. Obviously, that is not the case, but that's exactly what Israel wants to be the case. Another example of Israel exacerbating anti-Semitism globally. Oh, yeah. Wait, CNN is reporting that Trump only told the fucking Republican leadership in Congress before the strikes?
Yes, Anderson, is the question as to why now? Why did President Trump feel the need to do this, given the fact that his own Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, testified in March, saying that the conclusion of the intelligence community was that Iran had not made the decision to go forward with its nuclear weapons program? Well, The understanding I have is that a lot of Israeli intelligence has contradicted that, especially in the last few months, especially at the Fordo and Ifshahan nuclear sites. And as it was described to me, the Iranians, even in the midst of negotiating, Anderson, even in the midst of negotiating, the Iranians had their pedal to the metal, as it were, in terms of the nuclear enrichment program. And so the feeling was inside the White House, they just could not take that risk. And that's where we are.
Yeah, it's certainly a lot of concern on the speed with which, and also obviously the more recent comments by the IAEA, though the IAEA certainly was not calling for any kind of military intervention. They were calling for diplomacy, but they certainly raised concerns about the speed of the nuclear program, the enrichment of the up to 60%.
Oh my God, shut the fuck up. America's so deindustrialized, we don't even manufacture our own consent. That's pretty good. It's true. We had to get Israel to do it for us. So Iran has nothing left to negotiate for. Nuclear bombs. Now the whole world knows for a fact that Iran can't develop nukes because it has no nuclear facilities. No, it still has nuclear facilities. It still has enriched uranium. It still has nuclear facilities, and we don't know the extent of the damage in Fort Howe, which is where they could potentially enrich more. The difference here, however, the difference here, yeah, Tulsi Gabbard was not invited. I know. That was reported on earlier. Tulsi Gabbard has not been invited to any of the fucking Situation Room meetings in the last couple of days, I'm pretty sure. Oh, God, he's wearing the fucking lame-ass Ronald McDonald-ass fucking hat, dude. Oh, my God. It's not the point. I know. But goddamn, like, we are the fucking lamest goddamn country on the planet, dude. What the fuck? You know what hurts about seeing images like this? It's not just that he did this, okay? That's really fucking lame on its own. You're such a loser. I know. I'm gonna get to you in a second. Hold on. That you're actually the point I'm trying to make. It's not that he did this in lame ass bullshit. It's that there are people that you and I exist in the same space as that look at that and go, hell yeah, he looks so fucking cool. That makes me want to perish. Knowing that I am occupying a space with people that are that fucking stupid, that look at this image and go, yeah, that's strong. He's so strong. The very same people that don't understand that all of these actions are consequential for them. All of these actions are actually taking away from the resources that could help them have an easier go at life, fix the fucking potholes, create a robust healthcare infrastructure, fix the goddamn ISPs so we have better broadband internet, you know, free college so they can be educated a little bit better, maybe not constantly feel fear all the goddamn time. They'll never understand it. It's so cooked. It's so lost. Today, Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries releases the following statement. Donald Trump promised to bring peace to the Middle East. All right, we read this already. It was fairly limp dick, but...
A lot of concern, obviously, about what Iran is going to do next, and all eyes waiting for that. We'll check back in with you a little bit. Fareed Zakaria also standing by. Fareed, I mean, this is moving...
Jake Tapper just referred to Iran's weapons program as a target of the U.S. attack. Again, there's no nuclear weapons program. U.S. intelligence have affirmed this dozens of times since 2007, having done so again just a few days ago. This is an outright lie, but it doesn't matter. But U.S. intelligence assessments had reached a different conclusion. Not only was Iran, this is from CNN's own reporting, which is also backed by the New York Times' reporting as well. U.S. intelligence assessments had reached a different conclusion. Not only was Iran not actively pursuing a nuclear weapon, it was also up to 3 years away from being able to produce and deliver one to a target of its choosing. And remember, They do not have a delivery mechanism that can reach beyond the point of Eastern Europe. Okay? So the idea that they were going to bomb Western Europe, like they were going to bomb France, they were going to nuke fucking Paris, they were going to nuke New York City, all of that is an abject fucking lie. They do not have this technology. You know who does? You know which religious fundamentalist country that is an ethno-state that's currently a bloodthirsty monster in the region with a fat nuclear stockpile of potentially 400 nuclear warheads with a delivery mechanism capable of reaching every major city around the planet? That country is Israel. It's not Iran, it's Israel. We know that they have this delivery mechanism, and we know that they have the nukes. It's very hush-hush, but, I mean, they admit it from time to time. America knows that they have it. It's not Iran, though. It's fucking Israel. Israel has the nukes and the delivery mechanism to reach the United States of America. You're lying? I'm lying. Liar. Okay. You should Google the Samson Doctrine. Just figure out what that's about. But don't worry. If they were to ever fucking nuke New York City, they could turn around and find a copy of Mein Kampf or something, and then it's valid. You know what I mean? These New Yorkers were reading copies of Mein Kampf, annotated. We found it in the ashes. As someone from Philadelphia, myself, I, Benjamin Netanyahu, did not want to nuke New York City. But once Zoran Mamdani became mayor, I had no other choice but to nuke New York. And then the American leadership would come out and be like, thank you for nuking New York City, Mr. Netanyahu, sir. We will give you the key, the Reddit key that we initially gave to Elon Musk. We're going to give it to you now for nuking. It's the keys to the city. Eric Adams gave it to Diddy last time. New York City was 3 months away under the leadership of Shia Muslim Zoran Mamdani of developing nukes. We had to act fast. God bless Israel.
But many in Congress wanted him to do and said and spoke to that. Fareed, thanks very much. I'm here with Jeremy Diamond, Clarissa Ward. It really is now a question of, I guess, what Iran chooses to do, what Israel continues to choose to do, and it remains to be seen.
I just thought it was so striking. You know, Fareed talked about it as a threat. I mean, essentially, President Trump was saying to Iran and to the Iranian regime and to the Ayatollah, if you want to survive, you take this one on the chin and you come back to the negotiating table. This is your chance now to survive. If you're going to fight, then we're going to have a problem. I mean, he said it's peace or tragedy. That's the choice that's being given. And I think it's worth, just for our viewers who are not poring over the minutiae of geopolitics every second hour of the day, to go through the different sort of proxies that Iran has at its disposal. The nearest one to here, of course, is Hezbollah in Lebanon, significantly weakened and degraded, did not get involved when Israel began its operations against Iran. Do they now feel pressured to do something, to respond in some kind of way? Because, by the way, Iran has been very clear that if the U.S. got involved, every American citizen and every American soldier in this entire region is...
It's crazy. It's like, why won't Iran do peace as we are fucking bombing them? Yeah, I already read it. Like I said, the fact that the Iran Atomic Energy Agency is saying that they're going to pursue legal avenues. The Ayatollah is basically the Democratic Party, okay? That's it. They're feckless institutionalists holding on to a fantasy that does not exist within the confines of international laws and the international rule-based order. It is not real, okay? It is not real at all. And these guys think it's real for some reason, and it's a mechanism of survival for them. But what they don't realize is it's either today or it's, maybe a couple months from now or maybe next week. Who knows? But it's coming. They are literally, like, the Ayatollah is basically the way that the Democrats operate in this country, where they're like fantasizing about a a diplomatic outcome that does not fucking exist. It's clear to me that their initial response to this severe violation of their sovereignty, just like their initial tit-for-tat campaign between them and Israel, in the process of a nuclear denuclearization agreement that they were having with the United States of America, has been so limited and so restrained and so focused on maintaining some sort of peaceful solution that even when they are bruising the Iranian public bloody, even when they are destroying Iran, wiping out Iranian sovereignty, his response is, oh, it didn't hurt that bad. That's what they said tonight. They said, oh, we hit our enriched uranium, which is true. They did do that ahead of time. Oh, we moved all of our stockpiles elsewhere. We moved all of our civilian nuclear scientists elsewhere. They're hidden. You just gave us a little boo-boo. Who cares? Wait, I want to learn something. Is Iran actually democratic? No. Doing diplomacy as a state actor and being an actual, democratic republic is very different.
It gives us peace. So I want the so-called, I don't know what to call them, people running around, warmonger, the sloganeers. This should be an education for you, too. This should be an education for you, too. America, don't you feel relief? Of course you feel relief. It gives us peace. So I want the so-called, I don't know what to call them, people running around, warmonger, the sloganeers. This should be an education for you, too. This should be an education for you, too. America, don't you feel relief? Of course you feel relief. It gives us peace. So I want the so-called, I don't know what to call them, people running around, warmonger.
Stupid ass Master Shake, Master Levin. Iran is pursuing legal action. That's so funny. We're living in ridiculous fucking times, okay? Like what process? What legal process? First of all, the entire sham of international human rights was directly concocted by a group of vassal states that are utterly servile to American interests. Every fucking European country is sitting around on their hands and knees waiting for Trump's orders, okay? Trump says jump, they say how high. America says do this, they go, oh, please, I would love to do this. Every single thing that you hear from European leadership about how angry they are at America's reasoning, America's actions against them, is all bullshit. It's all bullshit. So the entire international rule-based order that is designed and is supposed to be upheld by these European defenders of liberal democracy is not being upheld. Benjamin Netanyahu flew over French airspace. France is supposed to be one of the only countries in Europe that at least has some aesthetic interest in sovereignty. They got nukes. They don't give a fuck. What do you expect Iran to do? I mean, listen, I don't know. But if I was in this situation, if I was the head of state of a country that is being fucking bruised and battered by a belligerent attack dog for the largest superpower on the planet, okay, I would very quickly cut as many deals as possible with the other big dog. I'd be like, please give me the Dongfeng missiles. I will do anything for you. I have a 25-year energy contract with you. Give me some Dongfeng missiles. I would like to launch some Dongfeng missiles instantly. I would like to launch maximum amounts of Dongfeng missiles is what I would probably do in that situation. International law collapsed in 2003 with the invasion of Iraq. Biden made a mockery of it from 2023 to 2025, and Trump has torn the mask off in 2025. Exactly. Yeah. Dongfeng missiles in the direction of commercial vessels potentially flying above them, mining the Strait of Hormuz, closing it down, dongfei missiles in the direction of oil refineries, but that wouldn't happen because that would also hurt China's interest. Also, there's the other side of this as well. China loves trade maxing, as I've said before, and they would hate for a global disruption of any sort against shipping or, God forbid, energy. That means less trade. That means economic collapse, and that means no trade. And they love trading. If they don't trade, they explode. So obviously, they probably would not be on board with that. But it doesn't even need to get to that point. If you don't want America to fucking blow up your nuclear facilities, put some fucking Chinese military in your country. If you don't want America to blow up your nuclear facilities, put some Russian military in your country. It's kind of that simple. There are Russian civilian nuclear sites in Iran. They were not attacked. It would also be weird, of course, for relatives to kill one another when you got Israeli, Russian Air Force pilots throwing missiles in the direction of Russian nuclear scientists down on Iranian soil. That would be really fucked up, but they didn't do that. They didn't do that.
Aware of. Yeah, I think that's a major concern. You're talking about, the problem is that we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of kilograms of.
Look at this. Oh God, I hate Barack Ravid. I talked with President Trump tonight on the phone, and he touted the tremendous success of the military operation. No other military could have done that, he added. 2 days was within 2 weeks, pointing to his comments on making a decision within 2 weeks for operational security. So he just lied. He just talked about diplomacy, got the European dickheads to talk to Iranian envoys, okay? To talk to Iranian envoys specifically so they could feel like, maybe in 2 weeks we'll do something. Which, by the way, I mean, as I've said before, if a dumb fuck Twitch streamer like myself could figure out that this was happening this weekend, I'm pretty sure the Iranian state is not oblivious, okay? Just so you know. All this does is show the rest of the world, and maybe the Iranian leadership, that American talks and American ceasefire and American negotiations are meaningless. They just want complete domination. They want death and they want destruction. Let's go back to some more MAGA defending the strikes. Let me ask everyone tonight after these recent strikes, a country that consistently chants death to America, they got their fucking nose. They're all bots. I swear to God. Bots, all of them. A day before the current war began, the Iranians announced that they had already built and would activate a new uranium enrichment facility separate from its current facilities. Several Iranian officials have also said that they began moving materials from their current sites in March. Unless bombing is accompanied by a new political agreement and inspection regime, it's not really clear the degree to which losing Fordow and Natanz sets back the current nuclear program. The main impediment towards weaponization is that there was no political will. If the Iranian government is still silly enough not to fucking immediately get their hands on nukes, number 3 of the Hassanabi nuclear doctrine, a doctrine for nation building, I don't know what to tell you. Mark Wayne Mullen says we were attacked prior.
Chad talked about the reporter that you visited about earlier, talked about the war powers and how AOC, who really gives a flip what AOC is saying, and some others are talking about impeachment because we should come to Congress first. Underneath Article 2, it has been debated and been put into court multiple times on what exactly the length of war powers have with the president having to come to Congress before he committed troops. We didn't commit necessarily troops here, but it also goes on to say, according to court rulings, that if we are attacked, the commander-in-chief, not the president of the United States at the time, but now he becomes commander-in-chief, has the authority and the ability to protect Americans home and abroad if we feel threatened or attacked, including our assets. There is no question Iran has threatened us, and there is no question they have attacked us. This is well within the...
What? Hopefully MAGA kids get drafted first? No, that's not how this works. Everybody gets drafted.
the president's authority to be able to do just exactly what he's doing. He's keeping America safe. And by the way, President Trump is the president of peace. He wants peace more than anybody, but at the same time, he believes in peace through strength, and deterrence is the best way to keep peace.
I swear this doctrine has infinite mileage. It's not. It's not that fucking complex. My very apolitical friend just said to me, no one fucks with North Korea. Why do you think that is? Yep, there's a clear message for a lot of global South and Middle Eastern countries tonight, sadly, and it isn't a non-proliferation message. Hasanabi nuclear doctrine. Hasanabi doctrine for nation building. Number 1, develop nukes. Number 2, don't give up the nukes. This is for Ukraine, okay? This is for Ukraine. Don't give up the nukes. Number 3, if a Western superpower claims you have nukes or a WMD, drop everything and immediately obtain nukes. Because if you don't do that, they're going to fuck you. They are going to ass fuck you with a bayonet like they did in Libya to Gaddafi, who did not have nukes, but they said he did. Okay? They're going to assassinate you without any fucking, without any sort of trial whatsoever, like Saddam Hussein. Okay? Doesn't matter if you're a good guy or a bad guy. It doesn't matter. If you're a fucking head of state and America says you have nukes, they're coming for you. You have to get nukes immediately. If you don't get nukes, you're fucked. And yeah, I don't know if this is this Hasanabi doctrine also getting heavily vindicated. If America gets attacked again, we probably deserve it. I mean, I'm not gonna say anything. But also, you know, we are doing a lot of fuck shit. I hope it doesn't happen. But God damn, are we fucking, you know, we are doing our very best. Iran is going to close the Strait of Hormuz? I don't think so. This is CNN's actual program name right now. Why Iran hates America, a Fareed Zakaria special? I don't know. Is he just going to do an accurate assessment of the past fucking 7 to 8 days? Breaking, Israel's attacking southern Lebanon with airstrikes. Israeli raids target the Iqlim al-Tufa region now. Oh my lord. Director for rapid response for Kamala Harris is blaming Muslim voters for Iran. What? Listen, guys, I'm telling you right now, judging by what Iran has said so far, it feels like they're just going to say, oops, you hit us, but it didn't hurt us that bad, and their retaliation will be fairly limited. This doesn't mean that further war is avoided here, because the appetite for further death and destruction and regime change is coming from our side, okay? They want stability. We want death and destruction and instability. Make no mistake. I hope I'm right. Best case, they just say, oh, we ate it. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. And then they launch a couple missiles at like empty barracks. But then again, this is a severe violation. A severe violation that could be a wake-up call for the Iranian leadership to say, okay, maybe they just don't have any interest in negotiations. Like, maybe they'll fucking understand it. Who knows? And therefore, we'll actually respond with the most severe response that they could possibly do. And I've already detailed what that would look like: mining the Strait of Hormuz, lobbing ballistic missiles in the direction of every American asset in the region, trying to pull other allies into the conflict to defend Iran. But that is less likely, I think. They have to do this to establish deterrence. If they don't do this, then America is going to do the bombing campaigns again and again and again. And slowly but surely, they're just going to erode the entire leadership structure of Iran. They're going to kill a fuck ton of civilians in the process. And ultimately, turn Iran into a failed state. What is this? Mannan Raisi, the Qom city member of the Iranian parliament. Contrary to the statements of the lying U.S. president, the nuclear facilities in Fordow were not seriously damaged. Only the above-ground structures, which can be restored, were destroyed. In addition, everything that could pose a danger to the population was evacuated in advance. Bye-bye. There are no reports of any nuclear emissions. Trump's false claims about the destruction of Fordow are refuted by the fact that the attacks were so superficial that there's not even any fatalities at the facility. But we regard even this U.S. aggression as America's direct entry into the war. Now, Iran will decide how and in what way to respond to the U.S.'s blatant stupidity. Okay, this is exactly what fucking Hakeem Jeffries said about Donald Trump when Donald Trump's administration arrested the staffer of a Democratic representative. Hakeem Jeffries is like, oh, we're going to figure out a way to respond, and it's going to be swift. I'm telling you, Iran, get in on this meme early on, okay? Iran is behaving like the Democrats. Like, this basically corresponds to what I was saying. Trump turns around and says, look, my aggressive military action looked awesome. It is going to make Iran back down because his generals... His generals got in his ear and said, this will be just like Qasem Soleimani. This will be just like Qasem Soleimani. They won't do shit. They can't do shit. Now, of course, this still doesn't mean that the goal is accomplished because the nuke stuff is bullshit. It's not significant. What's actually significant is destabilizing Iran, turning it into a failed state, and then the violence will unfold in spectacular fashion if that were to happen. But I don't know if this will be as severe a response. And the Fox general told them to tell the Iranians don't respond and they will listen because they don't want the smoke. Yeah. Any retaliation by Iran against the United States of America will be met with force far greater than what was witnessed tonight. Thank you, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. That's what he tweeted out. Anti-war, by the way. You say Iran only wants peace and stability. You clearly have no understanding of Iran's goals. Iran wants to close the Strait of Hormuz, remove the Gulf states, and implement control of the Persian Gulf and all the oil. They have said this repeatedly. Okay, dude. Well, I want Chinese-style democratic centralization, okay? That's what I want. I want high-speed rail. Am I getting it? No. So shut the fuck up. What Iran wants and what Iran is capable of doing are entirely different things. Also, you just made that shit up anyway. The fuck do you mean? Iran wants to actually nuke Washington, D.C. Okay, cool. I guess we should listen to that guy. Remember this? I mean, yeah, they're all fucking liars and hypocrites. Tulsi Gabbard, a vote for Kamala Harris, a vote for Dick Cheney, and is a vote for war, more war like World War III and nuclear war. A vote for Donald Trump is a vote for a man who wants to end wars, not start them. I'm told by experts that the underground tunnel in Isfahan is much harder target than Fordow, and it is not clear whether the Tomahawks were able to destroy it. There is no way they got in that tunnel. It's deeper than Qom and harder rock. Well-placed source tells Fox. International Atomic Energy Agency inspectors reported multiple times that it was used for storage of UF6. UF6 was one of the large precursor materials to make enriched uranium, but that there was no enrichment going on inside that mountain. But it's important that UF6, uranium hexafluoride, be accounted for and eventually removed. Isfahan is where Iran also manufactured centrifuges. Hossein Shariat Madari is reporting that Hormuz will be closed on TV right now. He's a hardline editor of the Tehran-based Kayhan newspaper appointed by the Supreme Leader Khamenei. Wait, really? If they close the Strait of Hormuz, that's different. What is this? I've said this before. It's easier to topple the regime than to fully dismantle the nuclear program. The reason, much of it is mental capital, knowledge dispersed across thousands of scientists. War can't erase this. Even physically, dismantling Iran's program requires U.S. engagement with certainty of outcome. Without it, America won't risk intervention. Striking Fordow may be symbolic, but it won't ensure finality. Yeah, of course it won't. Like the nuclear program is also built on scientific knowledge, and Iran has exported this expertise to allies across the region. The same applies to his drone program. AIPAC, who funds many Dems, glazes Trump's decision. Of course, AIPAC, Trump's principled decision to dismantle the Iranian nuclear program, which strikes on Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan, is profoundly in America's interest. I'm losing my mind. You voted for this? Wait, I did? You think I voted for Donald Trump? What are you, fucking stupid? Yeah, I'm a huge Trump supporter. By the way, vote for any party. You're voting for this, for the record. You're voting for AIPAC either way, big dog. So technically you're not wrong. Honestly, whichever way you vote in our duopoly, you are still voting for exactly this. It's just the whichever flavor of this you want. Do you want the gay version or do you want the homophobic version? Still gay, but homophobically gay. Which version of gay fascism do you want? The openly gay one or the homophobic one? Inside of you are two wolves, okay? Within the American duopoly, there are two wolves. Both of them want to nuke Iran. Hi, I'm waiting for another condemn from our Chinese government. Oh my God. Oh my God. Victor Gao about to go on fucking Sky News and hit the condemn so hard. Dude, I'm telling you, just wait. China's going to write another stern letter talking about the importance of international trade, and everyone is going to be like, look out. These guys are the global hegemon of tomorrow. Look out. Look out. China's coming in. They're going to fucking condemn so hard. Just you wait, baby. You won't be expecting this condemnation. This will be so stern. This will be so stern. China literally, I'm telling you, I talked about this yesterday. China hit the nuclear option on trade one time in this process where they just said, okay, you want to do tariffs? We won't sell you the materials that you need for your defense. We own all of them. We have a monopoly on the refinement process. We basically have a monopoly on the procurement process. We won't give them to you. That was the nuclear option for trade. That's the only time that they ever implemented it because Donald Trump was like, we're not going to do trade with China. That's it. They will never do it for anything else. God forbid the American suburbs are not awash with fucking labubus, okay? God forbid China ever take the stage as a global hegemon in the direction of peace and prosperity. Oh my God. No, the only time they would they would hit the nuclear option as long as America says no more labubus, no more shine. You say no more shine or sheen, however you say it, China will come out and be like, this is unacceptable. Nukes are about to fly. Nukes are about to fly unless you fucking restore global trade right now. We have to trade max. Oh.
New chapter, new page. Let's start again. I think realistically, even if this does end up in the long term having a positive impact on some level, this is a new chapter now, and we have no idea what it entails.
And you also have to think about the years and the millions and hundreds of millions of dollars that the Iranian regime spent on this nuclear program. How much they have staked on this program, even just from a domestic politics standpoint. I mean, this is an incredibly embarrassing moment for the Iranian regime to see these three sites, according to President Trump at least, destroyed in one fell swoop with these strikes. They are going to need to find a way to save face here. And does that entail these significant attacks that we have been anticipating potentially against U.S. troops in the region? Does it entail significant attacks against Israel, where we are right now? And how do they move forward? And so this is an incredibly volatile moment. As much as we were talking before about the way in which this is, earth-shattering and changing the face of the region potentially, we don't know which direction things are going to go in. And this is a very delicate moment for Israel and also for U.S. troops and civilians in the region as well.
Kylie Atwood is standing by. Kylie, I understand you have new reporting on U.S. diplomats in the region.
Yeah, so what we're learning as you guys are talking about the potential Iran retaliation, we don't know what that will look like or when it will come, but the U.S. Embassy in Iraq and the U.S. consulate in Erbil, both of those are undergoing a pretty dramatic drawdown as we speak. There are flights that are leaving Iraq. Earlier this evening, they were actually halted for some time because there are questions right now about the airspace in this area, as you can imagine, Anderson. But as the United States is drawing down...
Israeli media claiming that Israel will stop the attacks on Iran now. Dude, I'm telling you right now, anything Israel says, assume the opposite. Okay? You're going to get like a 90% hit rate. Maybe they'll stop. I don't know. Maybe this is the 10% where they're being honest, okay? But I swear to God, if you were to listen to everything Israel says and take it seriously, like fucking Anderson Cooper, you would be wrong 90% of the time. If you were to unconditionally state that everything Israel says is a lie, you would be wrong 10% of the time. I think I would rather go with the second option. Okay? All they have to do is send bird flu positive people directly to the U.S. and we'd be on our knees. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Oh my God. All they have to do is, maybe that's what the Iranian government's hope is that like they're going to collapse eventually. And by they, I mean me, us, we. So we should just keep doing as much diplomacy. We'll tank the damage to the best of our ability. Any day now, they're going to fucking kill themselves anyway. Is probably their position. Everyone is trying to play the waiting game. Nobody wants to be the hegemon right now because inevitably it's going to end. It's going to end. We can't sustain this. A lot of people have deluded themselves into thinking we can, but we can't sustain this. This is crazy. It's madness.
Israelis traveling, people with dual citizenship traveling through Jordan or traveling through Egypt overland for understandable reasons. I want to bring in General Wesley Clark, former NATO Supreme Allied Commander. General Clark, your thoughts on this operation?
Jason Sakura, shut the fuck up. This is a further escalation. This is a further escalation than the Trump administration deciding to unilaterally strike Iran without telling anyone else. Send me the clip. Send me the link right now. Sorry, this is, for all the adults that are watching, this is a totally irrelevant side point.
We don't know about Fordor. Maybe they have. We also, as you all were saying, Anderson, we don't know about where the nuclear materials really are. The Iranians have said they've already taken out of these sites.
Who might have kissed a girl for the first time ever.
And so forth.
This is
we
big
just
news.
don't know. It is, as Clarissa Ward was saying, a very, very volatile and uncertain time. I just hope that the president will use the momentum and the dominance that he has achieved to really push this regime. I hope we're not going into another argument that we had on Friday with the Europeans of, you won't enrich. Yes, we will enrich. No, you won't. Yes, we will. Because this really isn't about enrichment, is it? It's really about a state that has dedicated the last 40 plus years to the destruction of another state in the region. And this is the chance to really push for a redefinition by Iran of their purpose, whether that's a regime change or just a backing away from what they previously said. But it should go deeper than simply trying to avoid escalation dominance and hope we can restore the situation that we had before. It's about trying to move to, as Clarissa said, a new chapter. And that new chapter needs to be that Iran has given.
I want everyone to remember that Uncle Cy Hirsch was right once again, okay? When the GOAT speaks, we listen. Do you understand? Nobody, and I mean nobody, got it with pinpoint accuracy with the exception of the great, the GOAT, Seymour Hersh, okay? Remember that.
I do hope that we have people working underneath this, talking to lower level people inside Iran and getting their sense of things. And maybe there are people inside Iran who say, enough of this old regime, let's change the direction of Iran now. Save the civilization that we have.
But the Israeli Prime Minister also said that,
Clark,
quote,
you suck.
on June 13th, he promised that Iran's nuclear capabilities would be destroyed, and he has kept that promise. Speaking to his own citizens, he said that he did this because Iran is an existential threat to Israel's existence. And previously, the Army Chief of Staff had said that this is going to be a prolonged conflict because Israeli intelligence had told them that there was something Iran Iran was doing that was reaching this point of no return.
All right, that's Hamda Zalhoud joining us live from Amman. Thanks so much, Hamda. Let's bring you up to speed. Here's what we know so far.
My cousin has family in Iran. Check messages. Bro, you're Mexican. I know because you said I'm Mexican in the past when you lied to me about your cousin that works at CNN. Okay? Don't fucking stop. Stop. What's wrong with you?
Go after other targets. Trump says the objective of the strikes was to destroy Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and to stop any nuclear threat.
Yes, I know Hassan's dump truck. I know my fucking chatters. I'm
Israeli
reverse
Prime Minister
parasocial.
Benjamin Netanyahu has also spoken. He thanked the U.S. for the strikes. Shahram Akbarzadeh is the director of the Middle East Studies Forum at Deakin University in Australia and a senior fellow at the Middle East Council on Global Affairs in Doha. He says the strikes on Iran will not lead the regime change in Tehran that the U.S. and Israel are hoping for.
I guess the most obvious precedent is what the United States did in relation to Iraq. The United States organized a coalition of the willing to topple Saddam Hussein under the false pretense that he was developing weapons of mass destruction. It happened that there were no WMDs in Iraq, that it was all a lie, and the United States plunged Iraq into decades of crisis and anarchy. So I think that's the precedent, and I think that tells us why Netanyahu has been pushing Trump to get engaged, because they knew they couldn't destroy Iran's nuclear facility.
Okay, let's hear from the top Democrat. What did he say 2 weeks ago? Does anyone have the video? Do you guys remember the video? I want to show the video because it doesn't do it justice. Passing the Bolton blunt. Yeah. No, nuking Iran, like blowing up Iran or blowing up another fucking like Muslim country in the region is the American foreign policy version of just one more lane. Just one more lane, bro. Please, bro. Things are going to be so different this time, bro. I swear no traffic congestion, bro. I promise, bro. Please believe me. One more fucking lane. Do not do any sort of public transit. That is woke and gay. Do not do that. One more fucking lane on the highway and we got it. Okay? Just one more. And this is the same principle for American foreign policy. One more regime change. I promise things are going to be so fucking good. I promise things will be different this time. It's going to be so easy. It's going to be fun. You're going to have fun while doing it. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Everything is highway. Everything's computer. Everything's regime change. I'm losing my fucking mind. Let's take a look at what Chuck Schumer, the brave opposition leader of the Trump regime, had to say when a couple weeks ago Trump was talking about potentially doing a side negotiation with Iran in the denuclearization agreement.
When it comes to negotiating with the terrorist government of Iran, Trump's all over the lot. One day he sounds tough, the next day he's backing off. And now, all of a sudden, we find out that Witkoff and Rubio are negotiating a secret side deal with Iran. What kind of bull is this? They're going to sound tough in public and then have a side deal that lets Iran get away with everything? That's outrageous.
Get away with what? Everything. Like what? Have sovereignty? Like, what do you mean?
We need to make that side deal public. Any side deal should be before Congress and, most importantly, the American people. If Taco Trump is already folding, the American public should know about it. No side deals.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, good to know. Director of Iran Project and Senior Advisor at the International Crisis Group. Iran's response is likely not just limited to military retaliation. NPT withdrawal is quite likely. I don't think so. What the Iranian Atomic Agency said is not the same as this.
Could be reconstituted.
What the fuck? What just happened? What happened? I fucking hate Twitter so much. It's so busted. Oh, Osita had a great take I saw on the toilet when I was peeing. Donald Trump is an extremely stupid man with very few real policy preferences who has simply done what mainstream conservatives wanted 80 to 90% of the time since he entered politics. They have wanted to bomb Iran. He bombed Iran. Pretty straightforward. The main problem with Donald Trump is that he's a Republican. Except Democrats also want to bomb Iran. Felix is so funny, man. Okay, we have 83,000 people in here. Don't show me Felix tweets. What? No, we've declared Iran does not and will not have nukes. If Iran wants to push this into something else, the response will be again swift and all-encompassing. Dude, your name is Midwest MAGA 2024. Who is this we? This administration's foreign policy decisions are only consequential in the negative direction for someone like you. This is what I don't understand. Americans think, and I'm not going to read Felix's response, okay? I'm not going to read it because I don't want to get fucking banned because he is on a tear right now, on a generational fucking run, okay? So I'm not going to read his response. My Jewish friend, Felix Biederman, before you say that he is being anti-Semitic for whatever he's saying on there, I didn't even look at the screen, okay? I didn't even see it. If he said something crazy, I didn't even see it. I didn't endorse it, okay? Now, when Americans say, the Houthis gonna learn why we don't have health care, I lose my fucking mind. Because, dude, you are the one who doesn't have health care, and you basically have realized that the reason why you don't have it is because we're fucking bombing another Muslim country, and you think that's good? Make this make sense. Can you live without health care, you fucking moron? Like, holding on to this notion that, like, America is mighty and that's why we don't have fucking health care is so stupid. It doesn't make any sense. You should be mad at America, not celebrating the fact that you don't have health care and therefore we're going to bomb fucking Yemen. It really doesn't make sense. Hype train, shout it out. The world is fucked. Yes. Read last message, no bait. Okay, you got me, but we're from Jalisco. We either look Arab or white as fuck. Also, don't be sussy. You still get away with it. She says you're hot and her friends at UCLA glaze you. They made a PowerPoint. I'm going to lose my fucking mind. You just admitted to lying about everything. And also, I was right. Oh, so you look Arab. Okay, got it. If you think about it, draining our resources so we don't have healthcare, Afghanistan kind of cooked way more Americans than we killed Afghans. Yeah. Yeah, no, that was the masterful gambit from Saudi Arabia. They did 9/11, and then we just mysteriously attacked every other country in the region, okay? Like, and we were like, you're our greatest ally, sir. Thank you for defending Israel, our other greatest ally. What an incredible event for Saudi Arabia. We might give them nukes, by the way. That's the other thing. You just slap America in the face and they say, please, sir, I want some more. Meanwhile, these dumb fucks are running around being like, they're disrespecting us. They're disrespecting us. These other countries, they're disrespecting us. It's like, bro, what is Israel doing? What is Saudi Arabia doing? Okay? You're doing tricks on it. Your politicians that care about you are doing fucking tricks on it. And the reason why they're doing tricks on it being Saudi penis and Israeli penis, is because the military-industrial complex machine is demanding that your politicians do tricks on it. God forbid you get a fucking moment of respite from all of this, okay? God for fucking bid. I know. I can't believe I criticized Saudi Arabia and said they were responsible for 9/11. That was very anti-Semitic of me. I know. Anyway, here is notable answer not included in the 60 Minutes broadcast last night was in overtime. Asked which foreign country she considers to be U.S.'s greatest adversary. Here's what Harris says.
Be our greatest adversary.
I think there's an obvious one in mind, which is Iran. Iran has American blood on their hands, okay? This attack on Israel, 200 ballistic missiles. What we need to do to ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power.
Why couldn't we girl boss our way to this one, dude? Are you chatters happy? Are you guys happy? We could have been doing the exact same thing, but with a black Asian woman in charge instead. The outcome would be the same, but Think about how woke we would be in the process.
That is one of my highest priorities.
So if you
and
have
that must
proof
be.
that Iran is building a nuclear weapon, would you take military action?
I'm not going to talk about hypotheticals at this moment.
Which?
All right, someone sent me the fucking Girl Boss Genocide video, the music video. We have to play it. I know one of you motherfuckers has it. Remember this? Oh, this was when I checked out completely from the process. Why is there no audio? What is happening here?
We must also be steadfast in advancing our security and values abroad. As Vice President, I have confronted threats to our security, negotiated with foreign leaders, strengthened our alliances, and engaged with our brave troops overseas. As Commander-in-Chief, I will ensure America always has the strongest, most lethal fighting force in the world. And I will fulfill our sacred obligation to care.
Someone in the chat said, "Who's this?" Good one.
Care for our troops and their families, and I will always honor and never disparage their service and their sacrifice.
Get ready.
Flash before my eyes, but at least there's one huge plus. We know that the bomber was a gay woman, drone pilot, hashtag girl boss. A gay woman, drone pilot, hashtag girl boss. My kid from school, I pull up, don't see him at all. I stop the car to head inside when a black van cuts me off. An armed agent steps out of the van. Next thing I know, I'm in an ICE camp, and I won't see my son again. At least I wasn't deported by a man. Brown woman, ICE agent, hashtag girl boss. A brown woman, ICE agent, hashtag girl boss.
Make America slay again.
Got laid off by a woman CEO. Oh yeah, it was hashtag woke. Israel destroyed my olive farm to build a settlement. Thank God the IDF has gay soldiers in it. We'll continue
That was more women drone pilots from Vika's Music. Fantastic. Incredible. With the initial D as well. 5,000 people have left since the start. I don't give a shit. We're purging the ranks for all of the fucking naysayers and all of the no fun Andes. The 5,000 people that left since that song started are all the people that are like, I don't want to hear from you that that the outcome would be identical if Kamala Harris was the president. Those are the people that don't want to hear this. Now, it doesn't matter, ultimately. I'm not saying this to be like, oh, I told you so. That's fucking stupid. The reason why I try to hammer on this point is so that you stay sharp and recognize when your politicians that are not serving your best interest lie to you, or sometimes even don't do the decent thing and lie to you. Okay? Remember that. This is why I say foreign policy is uniparty and something must change. And if we want to if we do care about the issues and we don't just operate off of team sport perspectives, like that one dumb fuck Republican who was like, oh, Biden gave $300 billion to Ukraine. He gave $70 quadrillion to Ukraine, brother. Okay? When they say that, when they're talking about that shit, okay, they are playing the role of a partisan hack for a party that doesn't care about them. But you should be smarter. You should be better than this. We should demand change from our politicians that are responsive to our needs. You should care about the policies, not the party that doesn't even have the dignity to tell you that they care about these things, to tell you that there needs to be an alternative outcome here. The U.S., according to ABC News, the U.S. and Israel had practiced this exact attack against Iranian nuclear facilities in a military exercise about a year ago. A source in Israel with direct knowledge on the matter confirmed to ABC News. I wonder why Brett McGurk has been fucking talking about how this is exactly what we wanted to do. We set the stage to be able to do this over and over again on fucking CNN. Timestamp, here's the exact moment he said I'm done to her at the DNC.
To the war in Gaza, President Biden and I are working around the clock because now is the time to get a hostage deal and a ceasefire deal done.
I'm out. I'm tapped.
And let me be clear. I will always stand up for Israel's right to defend itself.
Oh, I'm super out.
Always ensure Israel has the ability to defend itself because the people of Israel must never again face the horror that a terrorist organization called Hamas caused on October 7.
Yeah. They wanted to do this so bad that they lost the election. They didn't give a fuck. They did not give a fuck. Anyway. God, this time period held such a different vibe. You single issue voters fucked us all. Yeah. That was after they kicked me out of the DNC. It was like 90 it was the 90% like you said, Omega Law, Israel Channel 12. Israel will continue to attack Iran. Source, Israeli Channel 12. Another every Hassan Abi stream ever dropped.
Chat, I haven't even blasted off yet, and you're already fucking annoying. Chatters, I'm not gonna tell you where this video is from. I'm gatekeeping it. Gaming later. Get in now. What is this? So fucking funny. Now, having said that, however... Oh my god! Anyway. Oh, okay. God forbid America gets their little treats. And what do I always say? Yes, I know, chatter. I will get to it. A world war just broke out and you want to talk about gaming? I'm gonna be right back. I need to piss. Everything's computer. Oh, don't get mad, don't get mad, don't get Oh my god, maybe you should use this as an educational moment because you're clearly fucking not getting it. Kyle, play! Yeah, maybe he's shocked because he's never seen a well-trained dog before. Yo, they have tickles, baby! I think that's gonna be it for today, guys. Love you.
There's no gaming on any of the Average House on Hobby streams memes. I don't understand why. Because you don't do it on average? All right. That song is stuck in my head. I'm Black Asian prosecutor. Hashtag girl boss. Okay. All right, let's continue. Açtım.
Against a facility in Syria in the not too distant past, using commandos, a very different kind of operation. But there was some suggestion that they did have some capabilities, but certainly they did not have these kind of munitions, which the U.S. is the only power that has them, and also the only planes that could actually carry bombs that are 30,000 pounds, and also multiple ones that we now understand have been used. So certainly there's a lot of relief, I think, by people here that the United States, that President Trump made this decision. Remains to be seen what the follow-on actions are going to be.
That's right. For those of you who don't know, I mean, I love Papa Wolf, okay? Much respect to Papa Wolf, as you guys know, one of my favorites. But he is a former AIPAC employee. Former AIPAC spokesperson Wolf Blitzer. Getting a new AIPAC back war delivered to you by an ex-AIPAC employee just hits different is true. The Wolfman is indeed, for those of you who don't know, used to work for AIPAC. Is this unit negotiated overtime you're working right now, sir? Yes. OG AIPAC head, yeah. Exactly. Are you still going to fly to New York? Well, considering that I can't fly to New York any longer because I'm live currently, I will not be in New York tomorrow. Obviously. And what is... Yeah, Democratic leadership's only complaint seems to be that they weren't let in on it. President Trump took action against Iran tonight in what appears to be a limited contained strike. We are still waiting to understand the extent to which that action has deterred Iran's nuclear threat. Oh my God. The United States must not rush into war with Iran. Unfortunately, Guys, Iran doesn't have nukes, okay? Iran doesn't have nukes. What the fuck are you doing? This is the Committee on Foreign Relations from the Democrats, okay? Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Iran doesn't have nukes. And in spite of the fact that Iran didn't have nukes, you know what Iran was doing? Diplomacy with the United States of America. Did we forget that? That happened not that long ago. It was going on until Israel decided to strike Iran. Hello? I feel like that wasn't that long ago. Why do they keep saying President Trump took action against Iran tonight in what appears to be a limited contained strike? We're still waiting to understand the extent of which that action has deterred Iran's nuclear threat. Iran does not have nukes. You know why Iran does not have nukes? And we know Iran does not have nukes because Barack Obama did something that was the reverse of what Trump is doing right now, where he did diplomacy. Instead of allowing Israel to strike Iran amidst the diplomatic talks, he actually diplomatically made Iran not have nukes. Okay? If Iran, as a matter of fact, if Iran had nukes, we would not be striking Iran right now. Israel would not be striking Iran right now. The region perhaps would be more stable. So we know Iran doesn't have nukes because we just bombed them. We flew aircraft from thousands of miles away and we bombed the country, a foreign nation, a sovereign state. We did that in an act of war against a sovereign state. Okay? Diplomacy is not a new kind of bomb. Okay? It's not. People might think that because America only works with bomb and burger. Diplomacy, not a burger. Diplomacy, not a bomb. Okay? It's not. It's a totally separate thing that people do when they communicate with one another, when they use their words and they write stuff on a piece of paper. They sign the piece of paper. They get commitments, assurances, things of that nature. Very different than what's going on right now. One might even say the opposite of what happened and what's going on right now, okay? So that's what was going on, and that's kind of why we know Iran doesn't have nukes, as a matter of fact, okay? So what Donald Trump did was wrong. Like, it was completely wrong. It was really fucked up, okay? It was really, really fucked up because I'm going to use very simple terminology here. Diplomacy is how you get no nukes, if that's your goal. Bombing is how you get nukes and anger and resentment and hostility and bombs in return. Okay? Unfortunately, President Trump has not continued the bipartisan tradition of regularly briefing Congress. That's not the problem. On major national security events, that is a problem. That is one problem. That's not the problem. Okay? That is a problem. It's not the problem. The problem is bombing Iran instead of doing diplomacy, which famously, again, I'm going to do this one more time for the liberals that are still remaining. Barack Obama, you guys love him. I don't, but you love him. You love Barack Obama. He's so cool. He's so handsome, right? Remember how old he got in the process? For 8 years, but he was still dropping three-pointers. You know, that Barack Obama, he's cool. He's a black guy. Do you guys remember that? He was the president. He was the first black president. Husband of Michelle Obama, perhaps not for long, but that's a totally separate thing. That guy did the JCPOA, which was the Iran denuclearization agreement. Okay? A framework that stopped Iranian nuclear proliferation dead in its tracks. Okay? It was a process that actually started even before Barack Obama, as far as I understand. He was the one who escalated it. He added sanctions to Iran and then took the sanctions away for the JCPOA. It was very successful, but also it was kind of a nuclear option because we started doing sanctions like crazy after that. But that's besides the point. I don't want to get into that. That's too nitty-gritty. That's too in the details. But he did this deal. Not bomb, no bomb. Barack Obama, you guys love Barack Obama. He did no bomb. He did this, okay? He did this, and he did this. A little bit of writing and a little bit of talking, and they were able to do the no nuclear thing, okay? Did Democrats forget that? What is going on? It is perhaps his signature accomplishment, his signature foreign policy accomplishment. I know Benjamin Netanyahu hated it. Chuck Schumer hated it at the time too, but he did do that, and it was good when he did that, okay? Unfortunately, President Trump has not continued the bipartisan tradition of regularly briefing Congress. This is a big issue for us. Events that impact Americans around the world. American service members with 40,000 U.S. troops in the Middle East alone are diplomats, their families, and our citizens. That's also not true. He fucking evacuated half of the diplomats and even moved troops from the bases because he was gearing up for the bomb. Anyway, assume more risk with today's developments. President Trump must now de-escalate tensions with Iran and immediately brief Congress. This guy unconstitutionally launches an illegal war on a sovereign nation, and the best you got is, unfortunately, I was not given a heads up about this. It's basically what it is. So you're saying, is President Obama brokered peace in the region? Meanwhile, Trump has done nothing but box a fan in front of a fire. I wouldn't say he brokered peace in the region, but at least with Iran, it was a decent step in the right direction. And I say this as someone who's not a fan of Barack Obama for all of the other non-peace things he did in the region, and also for bringing about the homunculi Tom Homan into the fray and giving him a presidential medal. Tom Homan, Trump's borders are Baron Harkonnen, that Tom Homan. Yeah, that was an Obama era guy. Who are you a fan of? Mao. That's who I'm a fan of. I'm a fan of no contemporary politician, maybe with some exceptions. Some. Warmongers in Tehran. Senator Mitch McConnell. Oh my God, he's still alive. I thought he died. Senator Mitch McConnell, Republican of Kentucky, who has emerged as one of the few Republican critics of President Trump's foreign policy decisions, praised his decision to strike Iran, Seizing this... Anne? Neler yapıyorsun ya? Sesler inanılmaz. Praised this decision to strike Iran. Seizing this opportunity is not an escalation towards war. It is a prudent response to the warmongers in Tehran. Iran would be foolish to misunderstand American resolve. Is Trump a war criminal now since he bombed Iran unprovoked? There has never been an American president that is not a fucking war criminal. Especially in the last, 60, 70 years. Literally not a single one, including Carter. This you. Last Control-C, Control-V. It's my 25th birthday today. My mom got me a watch. My friends took me out for dinner, but my surprise gift was from our government with a fucking draft letter and a promise for a C8 Corvette. I wanted a fucking hashtag summer glow up, not a hashtag summer blow up. Shut the fuck up. Happy birthday. Be sure to marry your high school sweetheart immediately so she can get pregnant while you're overseas. Good luck, chatter. Godspeed. Jody Core, respect the real troops. I walked into my living room and saw my Trump voting father watching TikToks about the news of the attack, and he was holding his head in his hands, and he said, he's so fucking stupid. Why? Checking on your Trump family chat. They're going through a tough time. No, they're going through a tough time today. By tomorrow, the new talking points will be downloaded to their fucking brains, and you will be shocked. You will experience whiplash. Protect your neck, because you're going to hear exactly what Trump said tonight repeated back to you, and they're going to say, it's actually awesome that Trump bombed Iran. I was always a fan of it. Okay? The Fell for It Again award only works if these guys actually care about anything. They don't. Hassan is so deluded. Cenk is not going to take this well when MAGA's switching on him. What? There was never a moment where MAGA was with him, okay? I have a buddy who's exactly as how you described. He gives ChatGPT as a response first, and then once Fox News has their talking points, he poorly repeats them. Yes. Everyone does a different version of this. At least you guys are in a relatively safe space where if you are repeating what I'm saying, you're going to be right a lot more than you will be wrong. That's not to say I don't get things wrong. I certainly do. Don't worry, LA is safe from Iran. Following the bombings in Iran, Los Angeles is closely monitoring any threats to public safety. There are no known credible threats at this time. Thank you, Karen Bass. I was very worried. I was very worried about the Jericho 3 missiles being lobbed from Iran with nuclear payload. Oh, wait. I did it again. I said the wrong country. Again, it's another I country. It's Israel. Oops. Open Presents, thank you for the 100 gifted subs. Slip of the tongue once again. Anyway, reminds me of this. She's out here keeping us all to date. Breaking: explosions heard in Tehran. Nothing heard here in Gainesville, VA. We'll keep you informed. Thanks. Open Presence is Iran. The Piker Broadcasting Service is sponsored by the Islamic Republic of Iran and the IRGC. Thank you, Iran. The Piker Broadcasting Service is also sponsored by the joint Iranian-Qatari Natural Gas Project. Natural gas, the cleanest gas, only from Qatar and Iran. The Piker Broadcasting Service is also sponsored by you, the viewers. If you would like to subscribe, you can do so for $6 a month or for free with a Twitch Prime. The glorious nation of Qatar will once again rise up. Go to New York. It's too late. I can't go tonight. The Piker Broadcasting Service is sponsored by chatters like you. Doesn't it count as legal because he technically didn't declare war? No. Take a red eye? I can't take a red eye because the red eye that I was supposed to take is taking off shortly. Open Presents. My Qatari envoy. Thank you for the 100 gifted subs. Major cities on high alert following airstrikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. Oh my God. If Republicans get fearful in this moment and then realize that the fear that they're experiencing is directly a consequence of Donald Trump's actions tonight, yeah, I mean, this is what's going to happen. This has already happened. What about Lolo's birthday, or is that not tomorrow? No. You missed Burgles gifting. 102 Burgles. Thank you for the 100 gifted subs. Oh, yeah. Damn, so what happens next? We wait. What happens next is we wait and we see. But like I said, I don't think Iran is going to go nutty mode, but maybe I'm wrong. Yemen might. Yemen's armed forces have declared that any U.S. military involvement in Israel's war against Iran will trigger direct Yemeni attack on American naval vessels in the Red Sea. The statement frames U.S. support for Israel as a part of a broader Zionist project that dominates the region, which is true. One that aims to strip nations of freedom, independence, and dignity, subjecting them to servitude, humiliation, identity erasure, occupation of their lands, looting of their resources, and the normalization of bloodshed, violation of honor, land, and holy sites. It's really interesting that these guys never say like that they're anti-Semitic, and it's like what Jews are doing. But I guess according to some of my naysayers, when they say Zionist, they mean Jew, which is really funny because it's not entirely incorrect, but in the opposite direction, because all they know is Israel. This is a battle for the entire Ummah Islamic nation, the spokesman warned. Advisors to Iran's supreme leader calls for missile strikes on U.S. Navy ships and closing the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, yeah.